everybody. It's a new show. It's a new day. I apologize if I'm a little quiet or anything today. My Go XLR app is acting a little bit funny, so we're just gonna hope that that's nothing serious. And I don't need VLC anymore. What's up, y'all? I'm feeling quite relaxed right now. I've been stressing a lot recently. And I'm finally today feeling a little bit like, okay, I had a pretty good day yesterday. I'm having a good weekend so far. So hopefully that's setting me on a new trajectory. Has anybody else been like super depressed recently? And it's like, I don't know what to do about this. You're just trying our best. Hello, Mersh. Hello, Psychoplebeian. There's a fly in my room. Yes, exactly. Mab's new roommate. Hello, YouTube chat. There's Dally and Comic Fantasy. Happy Pride Month. Yes. I'm curious if any more people are going to trickle in. We're starting a little bit later than usual, so I'm not sure if the time slot is going to impact this at all. But 11 viewers, 10 likes, which means we're doing pretty good on most people who are here hitting the like button. I appreciate that. I would really like it if our, kind of goofy hangout streams can get to be like the main thing that we do on this channel. Frankly, I'm at this point where I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what to do with everything, right? So I watched a queer movie last week, and I'm going to update, I'm going to record and upload a review of it this week on this channel. So it's like, yeah, on the live streams, we're just going to shoot the shit. If there's something political, we can talk about it, but that's not like the point necessarily. I'm going to peruse through the stream recommendations channel at some point today because I don't think I've looked at it in a little bit. And there have been people sharing links in there of stuff that I should talk about. Or at least there's one thing in there right now. I think maybe people are posting in there less, which is understandable because I haven't been asking you guys to post the news in there. Hey, Baphomet, how's it going? Mogdrogan says, I live in Indiana. The government here is getting very weird. Feels like everything everywhere is getting a little weird. And, I feel like if we can scale back the scale of how much we're trying to deal with at one time, listen, put on your mask first. Put on your fucking oxygen mask first. You can't help anybody if you're not taking care of yourself. And I crashed out hard this past few weeks. I've just not been able to take care of myself, which is annoying. Oh no, Baphomet is sick but mostly fine. Ooh, okay. Glad that you're doing okay. So, 15 people in here. I finally beat Peace Walker, and by beat, I mean I got the first ending and then watched the true ending on YouTube. Whatever you gotta do. I basically just been investing a lot of time into Stardew Valley recently, and then leveling my priest on World of Warcraft, and that's pretty much it. Bro, water is so crisp. So good for you. What's up, John Bainbridge? What plans does everybody have for Pride Month? Are we gonna... Oh my god, I don't know why. I just put this earring in and it's very itchy. It wasn't itchy when I wore it yesterday, though, all day. So I don't know what's the deal here. Let's see. Yeah, so it's Pride Month. Does anybody have any fun plans? There are, in my area... There are like a million billion different Pride events that I could go to. I could probably have a Pride event booked almost every weekend between now and September. Because there's just Pride stuff happening. Maybe it would let up a little bit in August, but yeah, it's super duper. I guess every little, it's because it's a progressive area, so every little town has their own Pride, right? Whereas I feel like back in Kansas, it was there was Kansas City Pride, and then there was, I think, a small event in Lawrence, and then I don't know if any of the other, maybe, it's I don't know if there even was one in Topeka. I feel like there would probably be one in Wichita, but it just feels that's all very scattered around, whereas I'm just in the Willamette Valley, every little town has its own Pride event, which I guess is really awesome. It means that you don't necessarily have to go all the way to Portland to go to a Pride event if you live closer to fucking Eugene or something. And you don't even have to go to Eugene because like there's little towns everywhere that have Pride events, so you don't have to travel anywhere. Outside a box. That's interesting because we have a regular here who's called in a box. So outside a box. Have you changed your username? Or is this just yeah, why are you on your alt? What's up? Outside a box. I found you. Oh, man. I did kind of think about how much it would cost for me to go to Portland. I saw recently that there are apparently plans to make a like a proper high-speed train between like Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland. I'm gonna take this out because it doesn't feel good right now. I don't know why that is. I don't normally like sleep with no earrings in, and I slept with no earrings in last night. So I don't know if maybe... Not sure why my ear is acting so funny right now. Oh well. Put that back in a few minutes and see if that makes it any better. Do I have an alcohol swab I can like clean this? Okay, I don't think I have the ability to clean this right now. I might just put in my regular earrings. Sorry everybody. I just like my ear was like so weird. Yeah, okay, back to normal. Okay, in a box is here and everything's okay. I'm going to a local shop to get a cup of tea and a couple things when the Pride event happens later this month. Yo, I'm like working through my, I have a black tea with rose petals and bergamot oil, and I love it so much, and I need to get more. And I think when I get more, I might try some other ones that lady makes and try some new things. I've been like chilling the last couple days. I watched a queer movie. So I watched Close to You with Elliot Page. And I meant to watch it twice, but then the rental ran out, and I think I'm probably gonna not rent it again to watch it again tomorrow. I'm just gonna go ahead and like go off of the notes that I made, and if I need to read through a synopsis, I'll read a synopsis to like make any other notes. But yeah, it was a really intense movie. I don't know. It's like I kind of was thinking. Oh my god, excuse me. I was kind of thinking I want to watch it again, but like try to see it not through the lens of being a trans person, because I'm like, does this movie even resonate? Like, does the particular feeling that is happening in this scene, like, could you even understand that if you weren't trans? Like okay, so it's about a trans man. I'm gonna make like a proper review this week. I just want to shoot the shit about it here. If you haven't seen it, like, I'm probably gonna spoil a bunch of it, but or I don't know, maybe not a bunch, whatever. The basic premise is, so this is not spoilers, this is the basic premise. A trans man who has been living in Toronto is returning home to his small beach town where he grew up, where it's his dad's birthday. So like we all kind of, I think that, since I'm a trans creator and I have lots of trans people in my audience, I think that we generally understand already going into it, like we understand the feelings that we're going to be processing in this movie, that as a trans man, like coming back home after 4 years of having not been home, and it's like there's immediately a lot of like tension right at the beginning of the movie, because it's like, oh my god, I don't know, is your family transphobic? Like, is your family like cool? Like, what is the situation? And basically, like, the family is mostly supportive, but prone to making mistakes, is kind of the broadest way to describe it without going into any details. I do want to highlight like one scene, because I'm trying to drive toward a point of like, I don't know if people will understand the subtlety of what's happening in the scene if they are not trans themselves. So it's like, yeah, I wish that I could perceive it as a different person, like, but I don't know. Anyway, but the scene is, his mom is upset after misgendering him earlier in the day. Like she misgendered him by accident, and he corrected her. And that's not the scene I want to talk about. The scene I want to talk about is later. He goes into her room and she's just like sitting on the bed crying, and she's like, I'm so sorry. I just still see you as my little girl, and I feel so terrible every time this happens. I don't mean to, like, I'm so happy for you now, but like it's just hard. And the trans man has to hold the burden of making the mom feel better about like the misgendering, and has to like say, I feel very supported by you, in spite of this mistake. And I'm like, can a non-trans person even comprehend what is happening in this scene of like how much it stings to have been misgendered in the first place, to have gone into the situation knowing that could happen, having it happen, correcting your mom, and having your mom do this whole like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm the worst, whatever, and having to be like, no, it's okay. When I correct you, I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm not trying to like call you out or say that I'm hurt or anything. Like, I'm just trying to helpfully correct you and steer you in the right direction. And it's just such a burden on a trans person, and it's gut wrenching. Like, it's a great movie. If you want to cry, watch Close to You with Elliot Page. It's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, or if you want to pay $4 to rent it, it's also available on YouTube. So yeah, I would say definitely worth watching at least once. It's, I almost wonder if it should have been a little bit shorter, but like it gives us a lot of lingering moments. So there's a lot of moments to like really sit with the feelings, or I don't know, like try to understand what's going on in the scene. Like, it doesn't give you all the answers. I didn't even know the name of the protagonist of the movie until the 20-minute mark, because it's really just like you're watching people interact. And if there is it's not normal for people to use each other's names. Like, I was reading something recently that was essentially stating from an observational standpoint that people don't really use names in highly intimate situations. Like that when strangers use your name, like when a salesman learns your name and he says your name a bunch, it's like trying to create intimacy. But when you have genuine intimacy with someone, using their name creates distance in a weird way. Like, I rarely call my partner by his name, except like if I'm like, dude, there's like a particular vibe that goes into it. So it's natural that the name doesn't come up until later. But it does leave you like really needing to let the moment breathe. Hot take, but I don't think Elliot is as good at playing sad characters since he transitioned. He's very smiley now. Well, I recommend you watch Close to You, because I was like, so part of the point here is like, okay, he's from a small town. He moved to the city. He hasn't seen his family in 4 years. And it's like several times people express concern for him because he's like renting a room, and they feel like he's not on a path to like long-term stability and success. Like the rest of the family are all of the siblings are all like getting married and, whatever, all that kind of shit. So everybody says like how worried about him they are. And he keeps saying, I'm so happy. I'm so passionate now. I am meeting people. I'm slutty. Like I finally feel like passion to live. And I was like hoping that we would get to see some of that. And that is, I think, one of the places where the movie kind of fell short of my expectations. Is I was kind of hoping that at the end, when he goes back to Toronto, I was hoping that we would see like really just a short montage of like him laughing and hanging out with other queer people. Because, like, okay, well, you said that in the movie. You were so mopey when you had to go back home and it was like rainy and all this. Like, it's really capturing the, you know, the mood of like going home as a trans person is fraught with tension and feelings. And I really, yeah, I think that the message of the movie would have landed so much better if we got to see him thriving at the end. But it does something else at the end. Like, okay, cool, whatever. It's like, okay, this movie was about something else the whole time, it turns out. It was a little bit weird. And I'll go into it more in my proper video, because I know that some people here probably haven't seen it and might want to, so I don't want to totally spoil everything. I'm like, I've already talked about a lot of the different scenes. But it's a good movie. I just think that there are some areas where I'm like, I think it would have been a little bit better this way. And I mean, part of that critique exists in a framework of knowing that there are people who have actually made the opposite accusation about Elliot Page and about other trans people. Like, oh, you look so tired and sad all the time now. And like, so there'll be a picture of them from pre-transition where they're like smiling at a press event. And then like another picture more recently, just like on Instagram or something. And Elliot, yeah, like, first of all, Elliot is 38 years old. And for as much as people bitch and complain about trans people having surgery and having work done, Elliot just looks like a normal fucking 38-year-old because he hasn't had a bunch of shit injected into his face. Like, the skin is starting to get a little thinner. There's wrinkles. Like, he looks his age, in my opinion. But there are like bags under the eyes and things. And like, I think that this movie kind of fits into this idea of like, well, you just like, transition isn't going to make you happier. And like, some people are actually worse off after transition. I can see how this film could fit into that, because it doesn't have the scene contrasting. Okay, in the context of being at home in this small town, there is all this like negativity. But if you go back to Toronto, like, put a little bit more color in those scenes. But like, the apartment that he's living in is like, you know, not very well lit, and it's lit in like almost a slightly blue color, which is like a natural light. Like, maybe they're even just using the natural light from the windows, but I think that makes it seem dreary. Like, this movie portrays trans life as being kind of dreary and empty, or like you wanting something but you can't really have it. And I'm gonna go, I didn't even realize until I started talking about it just now, because I just watched it on Friday and like I was busy all day yesterday. But I'm just like realizing how disappointed this movie left me. But I don't know if it was supposed to. But I can't see any of this outside of the world that we live in, where all these hostile things are happening. Hi, Kitty. Sorry, I was on a rant there. I was finishing a Noida run. Hope you all are well this day. Jesus Christ, this year is literally beating me up, it feels like. I would love to see some good news for a month or two, but alas, hopefully we still have a Pride event in our small town this year. Oh, gosh. I hope that you guys have a Pride Month thing so that you can always go to Eugene or whatever, but I know I'm like, oh, it's already June. Like, we're in the 6th month of this year. It feels like it's going by. I feel like I've just like shut down and like wasted the entire month of May somehow. I don't know. It's like one of those, like, you blink and you look up and like, oh my God, your life has just gone by for several weeks. Transition might not make you happy on its own, but it sure does remove a major impediment. Yeah. And like, part of the movie is everybody is expressing all this concern about him. And he's like, you know, to one character, he says, you weren't worried about me when I was at my lowest. Like, you weren't worried about me when I was actually unwell. Why are you worried now when I actually finally feel like I'm thriving in my life? And it really does drive home this whole, like, he was suicidally depressed before transition narrative. So yeah, I mean, it's like the ability to live your life definitely is something to cherish. I just wish I had seen more of it. I have felt like Elliot has looked amazing since his transition. He really is such a badass, and I have respected his work the whole career. I'm glad we have a proper trans male role model in Hollywood these days. They really are underrepresented. Totally, yeah, I agree. It's terrible that all of that is falling on him, but like, if you're gonna hire a trans masculine actor to do something, it's probably gonna be Elliot Page because he is like the one. It's yeah, it's really unfortunate. I feel like we have lots of trans women representation. I wonder, yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's just a sense of like I won't be able to get work anymore that prevents people from coming out, or I don't know. Yeah, this year has been 3 years long already. Totally. Mersh says, luckily, our biggest concern about our Pride picnic is whether or not it's going to rain that day in my locality. I like that. Not being concerned about whether or not it's going to happen. Like, yeah, let me check in, everybody. Is Pride, like, happening this year? I've seen a lot of, like, corporate downplaying where, like, they technically have a Pride acknowledgement, but it is, like, blink and you'll miss it. Like, I saw that Target had... Hold on, let me see if I can find a picture for you of the thing that I was going to talk about. Because, like, I saw it on Blue Sky. Ah, here it is. Let me open image in new tab. Okay. For 2025, Target's Pride merch line includes this beige-ass short-sleeve hoodie with a hoodie tie that says out and proud. Out loud and proud is what it says. Like, this is what counts as Pride merchandise this year for Target. Beige fucking hoodie with tiny blink and you'll miss it. It's like only even rainbow on the word proud. So out loud and proud is like, it's really more of a whisper. It's more of a gentle suggestion. And then also there was another thing where I saw someone talking about the logo on Google today. What is the logo on Google today? Just go there, please. Ah, okay. So this is the logo on Google today. Whoop. Come on, chill out. Google, okay, let's hover over Pride Month 2025. And then if you click to like understand why it looks like this and not like a traditional rainbow, they're honoring a particular kind of music. And like what is it? Okay, yeah, so according to Google search, today's doodle, Pride Month 2025. In celebration of Pride Month, today's doodle celebrates hyperpop, a genre/anti-genre of electronic music pioneered by LGBTQ+ artists. So one way you could interpret that is, oh, they're actually finding things about LGBTQ culture to celebrate. Like Vaporwave, I think I would consider Vaporwave to be similar to hyperpop based on like the visual similarities between their styles. But like, is it really a true, like, let's appreciate specific things about gay culture? Or is it, let's find a way to technically honor gay culture without using the common parlance iconography of the rainbow, like of the traditional rainbow? Because obviously this thing is rainbowy. It's got rainbow stuff going on. But it is not like what we have come to understand and agree on culturally is like the rainbow symbol. Is it a Wendy Carlos reference? It doesn't specifically say that when you click on it. But yeah, I mean, basically. Finding ways to make money without alienating the hyper-conservatives. Yeah, basically. They're trying to not piss off either group. And I honestly don't even think that this is a bad decision, because you literally like hover over it. It says Pride Month 2025. It's got a rainbow on it, and you click it, and it tells you about the LGBTQ culture. Like maybe people wouldn't have known that hyperpop was like created by LGBTQ people, and like a huge contribution toward electronic music, period. Like, you know, Wendy Carlos kind of made electronic music possible, or like pioneered it in that way. So frankly, like, it is kind of a cultural win. Like, this was a very calculated move on their part. I didn't realize the new Google logo was signaling pride. I guess, to be clear, it's not like the new Google logo. It's just like, you know, when they change the front page to have something honoring like MLK Jr. or whatever, you know, whatever holiday it is. So yeah, the new front page, it like has a rainbow on it, but maybe one that will not trigger the conservatives. Target is willing to fire trans employees to avoid putting people in danger rather than defending their employees. I haven't heard of that. I know that Walmart fired a cis employee because a customer accused her of being trans. I might bring chicken tacos to every event I go to for the foreseeable future. That would be fire. Absolutely delicious. Mersh is going to bring fried chicken for the Pride picnic. Ooh, I just made fried chicken for the first time in a long time this week. Check this out. I burned myself. You actually can't really see it that much, especially with the giant white light. But, oh, look see that little pink mark? I burned myself because I dropped I was like, you know, about to take out the last couple chicken strips. And as I'm trying to pick one up, I dropped it back into the oil and it splashed all over my hand. And so, frankly, I'm surprised that I didn't end up with more than just this little, just this little pink spot. That's all I have, even though the oil was like all over my hand. Lucky. Oh, someone asked earlier, this one is my muskrat bone earring. Muskrat jawbone rather than my rat jawbone. My rat jawbone is like a third of the size of this one, and so I feel like it's easy to not notice. The way that this camera works, I think it basically has like some kind of AI running on it all the time to smooth the image and get rid of noise. But in the process of doing that, sometimes you lose out on some detail. So I feel like my rat bone earrings don't show up as well. So this is a muskrat jaw. Very nice. It is my favorite. Hi, Mosh. Just popping in to say hi. Yeah, have fun out there. Someone is calling this stuff coward core. Oh, yeah, I like that. Coward core. Google and Target. Dally says, I saw Levi's is having a pride line, but it didn't seem to have a lot of rainbow. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Prince also used synthesizers like the Moog in a lot of his music. In fact, he was one of the very few artists who knew how to reprogram them to have new effects. And guess who he was friends with? Wendy motherfucking Carlos. Also was friends with her post-transition. That's so cool. Thanks, Mosh. We'll see you later. Hit the like button before you leave. This is a chill and talk about whatever. And I mean, you know, we're talking about current events a little bit here. But we're chilling and we're talking about whatever. So if you enjoy that, hit like. And if you don't enjoy that, hit like before you leave so that we can get the people who want to hang out to come in here. Okay, I don't need that open. Da-da-da. Yeah, disappointed by the Pride merch. I mean, I'm definitely at a point where, you know, when it comes to the whole Target thing, and like Target having this, you know, just let me bring it up again, this absolutely inspired approach to Pride representation, you know, beige with the tiniest rainbow possible. A whisper. Out loud and proud, whisper. Obviously, I'm at a point where I don't really seek out Pride merch at Target. I'm definitely like, if I can afford it, I would rather support an artist, like an independent artist. Not that I really am keen on buying a ton of Pride stuff anyway. You know what I mean? I'm just not like a person who wears a Pride flag on a regular basis. I'm not like a big wearing rainbows all the time person. It's just not my particular style. But if I were to get, you know, a new pair of earrings or something, I probably would go with an independent artist. And frankly, there are independent artists, and I've seen them, who make Pride merch that isn't bright, for the goths out there. I do need to replace, like, a lot of my clothes. I'm realizing that a huge part, or at least I'm assuming, I'm trying to tackle the fact that I overheat from as many angles as possible. And part of that is, like, I might have to replace a bunch of my clothes because polyester is so common in clothing nowadays, but polyester retains a ton of heat. So it's like, even just stuff like my bra and underwear might be part of why I overheat so easily. So I'm sitting here, like, I don't know when. I have like a huge amount of credit card debt I have to pay down from when I used my credit card to pay my taxes this year. But I would really love to just have money to like reinvest in a whole new wardrobe. That would be great. Hey, that's very cool, Drea. I spent 7 hours yesterday with my trans hairstylist getting my hair rainbow colored. I'm so done with being quiet, down with that silly Target quote unquote pride. Yeah, that's cool. I don't want to bleach my hair right now, but I absolutely respect people showing their pride however they can. Papa, am I a real rainbow? Of course, son. You're the brightest rainbow I've ever seen. I don't know, am I a good dad? I don't know. It's a mystery. Rainbow hair is super nice. Yeah, I can't imagine the amount of time that it would require to sit in a chair to have someone fuck up my hair a bunch. Like, I don't know. I don't think that there's any hair dye in my hair anymore. I used to henna my hair, but I think it's all gone now. So, you know, it's just me. Au natural. Pride merch is for cisheads. Within our community, we have ways to signal to each other who we are. Truly, yeah. I do wonder sometimes, like, I don't know, my partner recently told me that he was basically like, yeah, people might see you and know that you're trans, but people don't know that I'm an ally or whatever. I can't remember. That's not what he said, but that's like basically the gist. The point is, he was saying, you know, people might notice that you're trans. And I was like, I don't know. I wonder / worry sometimes. I can see other trans people in public and I'm, you know, like a puppy. I want to be like, I like your hair. That's the thing. You just have to say, I like your hair. That's how you know. But like, I think that for the most part, people just perceive me as female because I don't particularly try to signal that I'm queer. And I'm limited in what I can wear because I overheat so easily. So it's like not even like the way that I present myself isn't even necessarily like authentic how I see myself. You know, like I went bowling this weekend and I was wearing like basketball shorts, compression socks that go up to my knees, and a tank top. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what I look like to people in like a white tank top, bright colored basketball shorts that do not match my socks. Like, I don't know how that looks to people, but I'm like not, you know, I almost don't have the luxury of like dressing for style. It is so, I just gotta say, being disabled sucks. It's so hard because of dumb shit like that. Like, oh, am I gonna overheat? Am I gonna like need to step out for a minute because I need to like lay on the floor and regulate my body? Like, I don't know, it's fucking annoying. But, you know, your hair gives NB vibes. What are you talking about? Okay, well, you know, I don't know. I would assume, but like there's lots of women who have an undercut. I don't know. I've met women who have the same haircut as me. In fact, I was just thinking of, I was like, oh yeah, that person over there reminds me of my friend from the Renaissance Festival. Like, yeah, it's definitely not them, but I saw someone in public today that reminded me of one of my friends, and that friend had the same haircut as me. My style is eclectic. I just pick up items till I have all of them and say, yeah, this can work. Dressing for style is a lot of work. I love my gothy lace, but it requires a lot of layers. Yeah, and that's the thing too. You know, you want to wear fishnet tights, but then you realize that fishnet tights actually retain a lot more heat than they should for some fucking reason. Probably because they're polyester, but yeah, it is not easy. I don't have the money to dress for style. I usually just dress in shades of gray. Right. So my ideal way of adding to my wardrobe is to go to the thrift store. But am I going to sit there going through every single shirt in the thrift store, looking not only at like style and fit and color, but also material and like, or do I just like go online and hope that somebody has like recommended a brand that is both stylish and made with materials that aren't going to make me die? All congressmen should wear fishnets. Wasn't that one of the arguments? Yeah. Did I have to do that one? No, or was that Arden? I can't remember. Did I have to defend the position that all congressmen should wear fishnets? Yeah, no, I had to do that one on the Transatlantic Call-In show, which it's am I on Takis? I think I'm on Takis this week. Let me find the schedule. I need to ping Arden for the schedule for the rest of the month. But yeah, it looks like I am going to be on Takis on Thursday this week, June 5th. Our first Pride episode of 2025. Well, other Pride episodes on the other Takis shows, of course, but the Line shows. Y'all, also I have to say, like, Friday was a really difficult day for me this week. Well, really the whole week was kind of difficult because I spent all that time working on my cover letter and everything to get that job to at least secure an interview at that non-profit agency that I was trying to work for. And so the deadline for submitting applications was like May 19, and they want to hire and have someone start in like the second week of July, which indicates that like they're on a particular kind of schedule with trying to get somebody starting in July. And I was expecting that if I was going to get contacted for an interview, it would have been this past week. And I think that if I am not contacted sometime this upcoming week, then I'm probably not going to even get an interview, which is really disappointing. I don't really know how the etiquette of working in an office, so I was kind of thinking of just sending a follow-up email, like either Monday or Tuesday this week, just being like, hey, I just wanted to express, like, I'm really interested in this position, and I, wish you all the luck in finding the right applicant or whatever. I don't know what's the correct way to phrase that email, but like I don't think it's going to hurt anything for me to send a follow-up and just be like, hey, I would really like the opportunity to interview. Please interview me. I dressed up for an interview and an ex-girlfriend saw me afterwards and replied with the word, damn. Nice, Mersh. I'm excited for you. I love how people in the queer community are like still friendly after dating. Tima says, I've always been too insecure and anxious to develop a style, so now I feel stuck in not having a style I like while feeling too old to experiment because the anxiety never left. Yeah, truly. Like, yeah, how do you even know, like, who am I? Who is the person that I want to be versus the person who I actually can be? And I'm struggling with this in a lot of areas of my life right now. And I think that if you're disabled, you understand this struggle probably more than the average person. Or like if you have ADHD or anything, it's like, there's so many examples, such as I want to be a morning person, but I feel terrible in the mornings. Like, and it's not a surprise. That is normal for people with POTS, just feeling very symptomatic in the morning. So I would really love to be the person who wakes up at like 7 in the morning or even 6. And like, getting to enjoy the beautiful morning. I really like those crisp early mornings. Like, I love that time of day. But I'm struggling with the limitations that I have. And it's sort of similar with like style, is like, I don't know what kind of person I want to be. So finding out what kind of person I want to be, like, okay, well, for me, I like being goth. Like, I did that in high school. I still have a lot of my goth jewelry and stuff. Clearly my present aesthetic of enjoying bones and stuff fits in with a goth aesthetic. And yeah, but that means like, okay, I can't wear black in the sun because I will overheat. Or maybe if I get the right material, like if I get a super breathable shirt and it's black, can I wear it? Or is that a no-go? I'm going to have to experiment and figure that out. But yeah, like, am I a person who I prefer to wear skinny jeans. I really like skinny jeans, but skinny jeans, they heat up. They overheat real easily. And again, because a lot of jeans have a lot of synthetic fibers in them nowadays to functionally make them closer to like stretchy leggings. So yeah, it's a real struggle figuring out who is the person you want to be and if that is even feasible. I want to be a person, I'm just throwing out an example. I want to be a person who's on time, but if you have ADHD, like, okay, well, good luck. Ooh, Drea is practicing sewing right now. Yeah, I have a sewing machine. I just don't have it set up. Nor do I have any particular desire to set it up. I would probably need to have more fabric before I could feel excited, because all I have is a bunch of little stuff. Or I guess I could, like, alter my own clothing, but yeah, I'm just, like, probably gonna have to replace a lot of shit in my wardrobe. Part of why I dress the way I dress, says Kitty, is it attracts a lot of attention. It's not because I like attention, to be clear. This is a long game that I designed to help protect me. If I ever need to, I just braid my hair tight under a basic ball cap, wear simple jeans and a gray t-shirt. I go from everyone knows me to people actually asking if I know myself because I look just like this other person they know. Oh, that's interesting. So Kitty, you're like, I dress flamboyantly most of the time because if I ever need to not be noticed, I can just like become a different person by dressing drastically differently. That's cool. I wonder if they make a heat reflective t-shirt that could go under a black shirt. Maybe. I don't know. Is it a bone? Yes. So thank you for noticing, Hales. My earrings, this other one is acting funny, so I had to put a different earring in. But this is a muskrat jawbone. Here's the other one here. I'll show you up close. If I can, like, oh, there's so much light that it's like hard to see any of the details because it just blows itself out. Oh, it's got a little hair on it, but like, yeah. You can kind of see. Jawbone. Cool. Cool thing that I have. Early on in my career, I needed my dad to phone me every day in the morning to make sure I was up on time to get to work at 9. I still struggle to get to places on time, but I'm far enough along in my career to be able to get away with being canonically late all the time. Like, what are they going to do? Fire me? Yeah, that would be That would be the dream, I guess, is like, I mean, either that or like finding a job that just straight up accommodates you and is like, yeah, you can show up like when you want to, and then like stay and work a little bit later if that's, you know, the habit that you are most effective in. You know, it's like there's a slight distinction between toleration versus accommodation. Like, okay, we tolerate you being late sometimes because you do good work, rather than just like it is officially understood that you will come in when you fucking get here. The problem with a heat reflective shirt is that it would have to be reflective in both directions. I can't see a way that a one-way shield would work without insulating you in your own heat and still want to die. Yeah, that's the thing. But sometimes things, I don't know, like there's those Vessi shoes that I hear about all the time because I watch YouTubers that get Vessi shoes sponsorships, and they're like, the special Dymatex fabric means that it ventilates really well, but it's waterproof. And so, and it like, ooh, keeps you warm in the summer and cool in the winter. Because there are types of materials that can change properties based on what temperatures they're in. So it is entirely possible that, like, yeah, if it is super cold outside, then the shoe changes shape in a way, in like a, within the fibers, changes shape in a way that retains your heat in your feet and like keeps you warmer. But then if it's hotter outside, it changes structure and then it starts ventilating more. I don't know, but there are materials that work like that. So it's like, okay, is there something that could function one way but not the other? And I don't know. I don't actually know anything about physics. Those vesties are bad for my arches. Oh, are they super flat? One of my goals for this year, says Dally, is to get my sewing machine out of storage and onto the craft table. Do I have any fabric or money for fabric anymore? No, but it's still a goal. Yeah, I mean, you can always take clothes that don't fit and like do something with them. Or yeah, I definitely think it's viable to like go to Goodwill or estate sales or whatever. I have like I have a duster that's 5% cashmere that I got at an estate sale. It was just like an old lady died and I bought her shirt. Okay, Kitty recommends getting a big white linen shirt that has long sleeves that actually cover your hands and drape open, and a 2-layer draping dress like a robe. Think people from the Middle East. Put on a big straw hat and suddenly you stay way cooler. Yeah, like paradoxically, having lots of fabric can keep you cool. Get a few gel packs for your neck and keep them in an ice box while you're working in the garden and swap them out. My mom has serious heat regulation issues but managed to survive in Arizona. Yeah, I've gotten a couple things recently, actually. I got this. It's a special kind of towel, is basically how it's described, from the brand Mission. You're supposed to get it wet. And then it says snap 3 times. Does that mean like I don't know. You're supposed to get it wet and then snap it, and then you put it on your neck. And it's also a little bit SPF protecting, so it like is supposed to have special technology that keeps you cool. And then I also got a hat that is similar, where it's like it's the same brand, and you just like you get the hat wet, and then you put it on, and it's supposed to have like special technology that keeps you cool. So this is going to be me on my hiking and safari adventures. Yay. I spent money I did not have on these things. I got really excited about the prospect of doing that nonprofit job because it would require me to go like hiking and stuff to cover their events. So I bought some of those things just to go like to be like, yeah, I'm ready. If I need to do events, I can go out and do them. You want all the fabric to be light colored white or just undyed plant fibers are best? Yeah. I know that this isn't like, it's probably not the lightest color option I had, but I was like, I enjoy green and it's light enough. Godly towels. Oh, okay, we're a fan. These towels actually do work. I haven't tried them yet. I actually still haven't even washed that one. Still need to wash that one. Someone said earlier that there were... Did someone say that there were cute pictures in the Feed the Dragon channel? Did someone... Okay, let's catch up on like an entire 2 months worth of posts in Feed the Dragon channel. First of all, Psycho Plebeian bought the Elon's Tears Elon's Tears mug while it was available, and put some banana cream ice cream in there, which is fantastic. Oh, hold on. Get out of here. Okay. This is someone's bearded dragon's new favorite toy. I can't see the usernames right now because I'm in streamer mode. But that's nice. It's a Charmander with a bearded dragon sitting on top of it. It's pretty cute. It's pretty cute stuff. Darkly Yours, why would you do this to me? Why would you send me this? I'm filled with jealousy. These are morel mushrooms, and I'm so jealous. I think we're past the season now. I don't think we're gonna get any more morels, like in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know. Maybe at higher elevations. I don't know. I would have to check. But man, how could you do that to me? Trying to kill me here. And these are another mushroom. I don't know what kind, though, because they didn't say what kind it was. But that's cool. Viren shared purple chocolate loose leaf purple tea. Ooh! I love the idea of purple tea. That makes me really happy. I don't think I'm going to be able to put... I gotta put this video... Yeah, I can't share that video. Ooh, this is a wild radish flower. Cool looking. Very neat. Oh my god, we're gonna... Are you ready for a close-up of a bunny rabbit? Can you even imagine the close-up of a bunny rabbit you're about to get? Boom. What a handsome bunny rabbit. Oh, hi, baby. Hi, Mr. Kitty. Are you my best friend? Meow. You just in here for your butt scratches, as per usual? No, you're leaving? Okay, bye. What a weird dude that lives in my house. Viren shares kitty pics. Viren. Ah! What an adorable little angel. My partner and I haven't nailed down when we're supposed to go to the Humane Society to see if they have any cats we want to adopt. Gonna have to figure that out at some point. I need to clean my bedroom, probably. Oh, this is a wild bunny from Viren's yard or something, presumably. Wow. You look like you have seen into eternity, my friend. We have a bird. Bird. Bird! What a cutie. Ooh, Drea posted. Food, tea, a pic of my hobby table. Ooh, okay, hold on. This is what Feed the Dragon is really about. I don't know what those are. Those look like meatballs of some kind, or like they're topped with. It's like, is that like, is it like a cupcake, and that's like coconut on top, or I'm having a hard time ascertaining what I'm looking at. What am I looking at, Drea? Oh, do we have someone in the YouTube chat with trypophobia who was not a fan of the holes in the morel mushrooms? Also from Drea, 1996 Warding Golden Flowers Ripe Pu'er Tea Brick. Oh, okay, this is a brick of tea. That's awesome. I love that. I'm a huge fan. Oh yeah, well, are those stuffed mushrooms? Maybe they could be stuffed mushrooms. If they're stuffed mushrooms, then they look delicious. Frequently asked questions about cisgender people. Cisgender people are just like you and me, except they believe their assigned sex at birth matches up with their gender identity. How do they know they are cis? Many cis people feel they know their gender internally. They feel they were born in the right body, even if others don't understand. Who is going to date them? Though cisgender people can have a hard time meeting partners, they are still able to have healthy relationships. Often cis people will date other cis people. How do they have sex? Cisgender people can be very inventive with their bodies. But they don't look cis. Cisgender people are everywhere. They might not look the way that you expect. That's funny. I like that. Here's another one from Drea. That's just a straight up grilled cheese sandwich. That looks yummy and delicious. And a craft table. I love that pegboard. Ooh. You have a metallic pegboard, and I like it. Also, I am horny for how many drawers you have. Little teeny tiny drawers. That's a good rack of drawers. That's what I like to see. Big fan. They were stuffed mushrooms. Okay. Yeah, they look delicious then. I've noticed that UPS has finally started painting the tops of their trucks white. Yeah, dumbasses. Sorry, Lux, food is my love language. No worries. No worries. I ate a banana right before stream started, so I'm feeling perfectly fine. Oh no! Oh, Kitty. Oh, Kitty has included a large number of images of dogs. Let me hold on. I gotta delete some of these tabs. I got too many tabs. I got too many tabs, Vinny. What am I gonna do with all these tabs? I'm just gonna open all of these pictures that you have sent me. Why do you have brand new baby puppy pictures? How did that happen? And now we got plants. Oh, plants. I think I sent you those whenever we were talking about food. Oh, yeah, totally. Understandable. Okay. Are you ready to look at dogs? Puppy! Why are you so tiny? Wow. That's crazy. That puppy nose. Wow. That's crazy. Is that mama? Is that mama dog? Blonde mama. Black puppies. Puppy. More babies. That's the babies. Oh, did she only have two? World's tiniest litter. World's easiest birth ever. 2 puppies. And now we got water lilies. See, that's cool. I like how those look. I would love to have a pond with water lilies in it someday. That would be nice. You got a frog! Look at him. Frog. He's dancing. I'm making him dance. I'm sorry if anybody's epileptic, but too bad. Ah! I love frogs. They're very cute. That's a pretty flower, too. It's a good flower. Frog! Yeah, that's good stuff. She pulled a I didn't know she was pregnant and then had them without help. Yeah, if she only had 2 babies, it would be kind of hard to fucking tell that you were pregnant as a dog. My bastard husky got to her at the end of her heat, so we only got 2 puppies, but they are half pure Siberian husky, half Mastiff Coyote Dane and Shepherd mix. Okay, fun. Puppies. You can't break me. I've been broken. Why do you think I'm a fucking YouTube streamer? I just thought it was funny that I was over here. Hold on, where am I? But I was just like over here in this image. Like frog. And I was doing this. Even though this whole image, you know, only contains a small amount of frog. And then when we got to this one, it was like a closer image of the same frog that I was already doing this with, so I could continue my lunacy. Frog! Ah! Anyway, thank you for that. I appreciated. Puppies! Again, hold on. Let me just... real quick. Look at that puppy nose. You know how soft that puppy nose is. You know how soft it is. You know you want to boop it. You know you want to kiss him on his empty-headed little face. Tiny little baby. How gross is that? Disgusting. Disgusting. I hate it. I hate it so much. Except that it's fucking precious. I wish bullfrogs were not invasive, but he is very cute. Aren't you allowed to catch and eat frogs? Is one of the things I need. Oh my god, I can't get a hunting license until fucking like next month. God damn it. Ugh. I'm so annoyed. I'm thinking about cooking frog legs sometime. We saw them at the Asian market. We can get like frozen frog legs at the Asian market. And so I was kind of thinking like, oh, you know, it would be cool to try it. And I think like a good, easy entryway, like if I'm trying to enter into the world of eating frog legs, I would just fry them like chicken tenders, right? Basically like it's going to be a good way to make sure that it ends up being moist and tender and like the flavors of fried food. Like I've had Rocky Mountain oysters before. Like I've had testicle before, and it's like hardly even noticeable that you're eating testicle because it's breaded and deep fried. So I'm like, okay, well that wasn't, it's not like it was challenging to eat. It was just like, oh, I'm eating like a fried thing. The goldfish in my pond might be big enough by next year to eat. Do you eat goldfish? Frog legs taste a lot like rabbit. Well, I haven't had rabbit yet. So I am excited to enter this world. I got my hunting license last year in Kansas, and I just never had any luck. I only went out like a handful of times to try to find rabbits, and I just didn't have any luck with it. I was not getting up early enough, I think, was the problem. So I think that's part of why people hunt rabbits in the winter. Is like, if nothing else, it's because the sunrise isn't until like several hours later. Oh my god, the hiccups. Goldfish are fish. I've heard it isn't terrible. You know? I had not considered the probability. I had never considered eating goldfish before. I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, if I were raising fish to eat myself, it probably wouldn't be goldfish. I would probably be like, let me do a fish that I know is good. Gotta control the population eventually. I mean, the big ones will eventually eat the small ones. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I just wouldn't. I would be like, maybe I'll feed this fish to another animal, like feed the fish to the dogs or something. I don't know. I just feel like it would be weird to eat myself. Goldfish are just a carp at the end of the day. That's hard to argue with. I guess I had never really thought of it that way. That makes sense. Totally. Hmm. This was something that someone shared in the stream recommendations channel, and I'm seeing it for the first time basically. So I don't know. Let's discover this together. Supreme Court rejects students' challenge to two genders t-shirt ban. A middle school student in Massachusetts was told he couldn't wear the t-shirt based on the school's dress code, which forbids hate speech. Oh, wait, what? Really? This is like good news. What? Which do you prefer most? Fish, chicken, red meat? I mean, as far as flavor goes, like, you can't beat red meat. Like, beef is fucking delicious. I like chicken for, its health benefits, and I like fish for its health benefits. But obviously, red meat is the most delicious. Okay, so I think that this is like the Supreme Court of the United States declined to hear a Massachusetts student's challenge to his middle school's prohibition on his wearing a t-shirt bearing the slogan, "There are only two genders." I wonder if they were just like, this is not worth us looking into. That's so interesting, though. Okay. So the Alliance Defending Freedom is they're the law firm that is supporting this case. Obviously, they're, yes, conservative Christian legal advocacy group. Says that students were bombarded with messages promoting the view that sex and gender are self-defined, limitless, and unmoored from biology. The student in question believes that that view is false and harmful, and he responded in March 2023 when he was in 7th grade by wearing a t-shirt that says, like, there are only two genders. After he was told to remove it, he later wore another shirt that said there are censored genders. That's a very funny move to make, because it's like there are infinite genders. Like, anything could go there. That's very funny. Morrison was not punished for wearing the shirts, although he was told he could not wear them in class and was sent home when he refused to remove the one that said there are only two genders. We're disappointed that the Supreme Court chose not to hear this critical free speech case. Students don't lose their free speech rights the moment they walk into a school building. Schools can't suppress students' views that they disagree with. Like, yeah, like a fucking white supremacist walks into school wearing a t-shirt that says, like, blacks go back to the field. And they're like, yeah, well, that's his free speech. It's just fucking hilarious. The ADF is so fucking stupid. Quantum Chaos, hello. Also, how much do you want to bet that kid's father is the one that said you're wearing this shirt today? Yeah, no fucking kidding. Portobello meat? Oh, you know what? Portobellos are delicious. Recently, I've been doing this thing where I take portobello mushrooms and I put them in the oven with some butter and, like, some salt and pepper and maybe a little bit of garlic powder. And I just, like, roast them in the oven until they're, like, almost a little overdone, if anything, and they're really fucking good. Anyway, two conservative justices, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, dissented from the decision not to hear the case. This case presents an issue of great importance for our nation's youth, whether public schools may suppress student speech either because it expresses a viewpoint that the school disfavors or because of vague concerns about the likely effect of the speech on the school atmosphere or on students who find the speech offensive. Yeah, love characterizing hate speech as, like, people are finding this offensive. Like, that's what fucking hate speech. That's why hate speech. Okay, anyway, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. School administrators pointed to the school dress code, which bars any hate speech or imagery, saying they were merely enforcing those requirements to avoid disruption in school. Morrison's lawyers say the dress code's restrictions on speech are unconstitutional. I mean, like, seriously, like, this is a public school. It's a government building. Trans people are a legally protected group in at least some situations. So yeah, of course, having like wearing a shirt that is aggressive toward an entire group, like, frankly, like if a student wore a shirt that was like like let's say that this is an actual student at the school. So a student comes in and they wear a t-shirt that says Brandon Sanderson, which let's pretend it's not an author. I'm just coming up with a fucking name. Like Brandon Thompson in 4th grade is a loser, and that's what their shirt says. Or like Sarah Jane is actually adopted or something. Like it's just like hostile toward another student. Would that not obviously be against the dress code? Like, it is your personal opinion, but like that doesn't make it protected speech if it's creating a hostile environment for other students. Like that is why hate speech as a concept exists. Like you can't create a hostile environment for other students at the school. If like the job of the principal and the teachers and stuff is to prevent a hostile learning environment. And like, yeah, if you go to school and like you're trans and somebody is wearing a shirt that says LOL 2 genders, like that is a hostile environment for you now. And the school is not taking a neutral position by saying like the kid can wear whatever shirt because First Amendment, whatever. Schools should disagree with creating hostile learning environments. Therefore, they should actually stop speech they disagree with in this case. Yeah, this is like the opposite of that thing woke scolds are known to do. Framing something using the most innocuous, technically correct language. Yeah. Yeah, it's always Thomas and Alito. Fucking always Thomas and Alito. Quantum Chaos says, save bacon grease. Fry portobello mushrooms in bacon grease. Pretend it's healthy because it is technically mushrooms. Big brain time. Every Supreme Court headline is like a triple negative. Dude, yeah, it's really difficult to sometimes to parse exactly what's going on, but yeah. Oh, and so basically by refusing to take the case, the Supreme Court is letting the appeals court judgment stand. And okay, so let's get back into this really quick. A federal district court judge and the Boston-based First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the school. Those appeals courts concluded that based on the 1969 ruling, school officials can bar, quote, passive and silently expressed messages that demean other people, even if the expression at issue does not target a specific student. So the Supreme Court, oh, interesting. Simultaneously, the Supreme Court is weighing a case from Maryland over an attempt by parents to ensure elementary school students can opt out of LGBTQ-focused books that might be read in class. That's gross. But I guess, yeah, cool that the appeals court decision is going to stand, and like good on the school for enforcing its dress code in a way that protects all of its students and doesn't grant immunity to a shithead who's just trying to, like, there must be a trans student in the school or something, or like a trans teacher or something along those lines. Like, why would you just randomly start wearing a shirt that says there are only 2 genders? I always save my bacon grease but never remember to use it. I usually take my bacon grease and put it in a jar like right after I'm cooking, but it's usually my intention to throw it away later. I just most recently put it in a jar that I do not want to throw away, so now I have to like get in there and like scoop out the I just wait for the bacon grease to solidify and then throw it in the trash, you know what I mean? I feel like they are really pushing what should even be considered speech, but hate speech of any kind should not be protected. Well, to be clear, free speech, like, this is a long-standing precedent that goes back to, yeah, like protests of the Vietnam War and stuff. Like, this goes way back, where, you know, if a student wears a peace sign, they had these like peace sign armbands to protest the Vietnam War, and like that is protected speech. And America has also defined this in a way where it's like burning a flag is a form of protected speech, even though it is like not literally speech, but it's like a form of communication. So we have found that the First Amendment right to free speech includes basically like, I guess like you could technically say that that's a form of expression, like freedom of expression. So freedom of speech and expression are both kind of tied into the same thing. Creating art, burning a flag, wearing something, those are all forms of expression that basically what they fundamentally share, like what this all comes down to is like you have a right to state your opinion without government interference, as long as it's not harming someone else in ways that, you know, we put limitations on that, like libel and slander and you know, creating classes which bear extra scrutiny. You know, this is a long-standing in American history that I mean, not like long-standing, but you know what I mean? Within the past 100 years, like, this is how we have consistently been interpreting speech. I set up foil under my bacon in the oven to catch the drippings, then I throw that away. Yeah, when did I most recently... I think the most recent time I made bacon, I did it in the pan. So, usually I do the same type of thing, though, in a box. I'll just, like... you know, put the foil in there. Bacon grease is great for the next time you make bacon or French toast. Wait. How is bacon better for the next time you make... Wait, how is bacon grease good for the next time you make bacon? You just end up with more fucking bacon grease. I love how we have so many more likes than viewers right now. It means that people are coming in, they're hitting like, and then they're like, I don't want to hang out here anymore. Like, okay, cool, that works. Like, that's fine. You can make gravy with bacon grease. I know. Listen, I know how delicious bacon grease is, okay, everybody? And I know, like, basically all you're telling me are, like, here are a bunch of ways that you can use bacon grease in place of the healthy fat that you prefer to use. Like, yeah, I know how to cook food in fat. I just usually use fucking olive oil. Or, like, vegetable oil or something, you know? Like, there's a reason why I don't cook everything in fucking beef tallow. I tune in and we're alternating between Supreme Court and bacon talk. True, yeah. That's how this works. I have ADHD. We're gonna bounce back and forth between subjects faster than you can believe. Okay, I don't think I really need this open anymore. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about that. Glad we had a chance to talk about that, though. Quantum chaos. I just come here to derail the conversation as much as possible. Living up to your name, you know? Bacon grease is way easier to get than beef tallow, though. I mean, I could just buy beef tallow, whereas I actually have to cook bacon, and I hate cooking bacon. To be clear, hate cooking bacon. But I was making a point about, like, I'm also, like, referencing RFK Jr., who apparently, like, has said that it's healthier to cook in beef tallow than it is to cook with like, seed oils. So I'm kind of evoking a broader cultural conversation around this. But my point is that I'm not cooking most of my food in animal fat because I don't want to have a cardiac arrest in my 40s. Happy Bacon Pride. True. Oh my god, someone asked me to make bacon-based gingerbread men one time. They were pretty nice, but unnecessarily cruel from a gingerbread man. Wait, what? Was it good? Like, was it good? Like, did it taste good? Like, bacon... Bacon-based gingerbread man. Like, you... Like, the fat that you're putting in the bread, in the gingerbread cookie is a... Like, instead of butter, bacon grease? I'm fascinated. Kitty says, I put my bacon grease into a Martinelli's bottle so it has a lid. And then when the bottle is a bit over half, I toss it into one of my fires. It makes the fire smell like bacon for a while. If you keep reusing the grease, you will freshen it and it doesn't go rancid. You can also run it through a coffee filter. And if you store up enough, you can always get some lye and make bacon soap. Bacon soap. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Wait. Is this the niche? Wait. Is this me finally finding my Etsy niche? Is my Etsy niche like making those like bacon based soaps for hyper masculine men? There's nothing like bacon to get you clean, get bacon and like make it like it smells like smoke. You want to smell like smoke when you come out of the shower. Like, is this it? Is this it? Am I gonna be a multi-millionaire? Saving chicken grease, make a wonderful white gravy. Yeah, I do that sometimes. Like when I'm cooking, I'll do one of my meals in rotation is just chicken breast with 2 sides. And a lot of the time that side is like one thing that can go in the oven with the chicken breasts. The chicken breast gets browned in the pan and then it goes in the oven, right? So I've got like olive oil and chicken grease in the pan and like brown stuff. Then I'll put like Brussels sprouts or something in with the chicken when it goes in the oven. And then I'll do like instant mashed potatoes. So that pan, I can do 2 things actually. One, I could either cook quinoa in that oil, which is something that I do like to do. Or I could use that grease to create like a really nice chickeny gravy, which is a lovely thing that I do occasionally. I would buy the... Are you saying you would buy the bacon soap? Infuse it with caffeine. True. Feels like it would work in today's world. Right. I would just not be able to sell them myself. I feel like I would need to pretend to be a man. Or like I just like film my husband's hand, which like my husband has unmistakably like working man's hands. Just have him like the advertisement is like he's off screen and he just slams down like the bar of soap and then like that's the whole fucking commercial. Like and then like get him to do a voiceover that's like bacon. Like I don't know. Soap really is almost as simple as having rendered fats and lye. That's why they did it in Fight Club with liposuction fat. Totally, yeah, no, I'm familiar with the basic premise. And soap content is crazy on TikTok. You know, like they'll like soap pouring, soap cutting, soap shaping. Like, dude, soap content. I do not know why it has popped off so much. Maybe it's just because it's evolutionarily one of those really deeply... Like, we've been making soap for a fucking long time. Because what? We would just mix, like, fat with, like, ashes, right? And so it's super easy to make soap from an anthropological standpoint. Yeah, biscuits and gravy are pretty good. I'm really good at making biscuits and gravy. I don't do it often enough. I never make my biscuits from scratch, though. I always do the pop-top things. It's a pain in the ass. It's cheap to make and people pay a lot for soap. That's true. I don't need another make money at home scheme. I just want a regular fucking job. That's all I want is a regular job. June says, I would try a bacon soap. I expect the smoky flavor would be too much, but why not? Well, I don't even know if there would be a smoky. I was kind of imagining like literally adding liquid smoke to it to make it smoky, because I don't know how much of the original like smell or flavor of the original fat being used ends up in the final product, because I do not know about how to make soap. I'm tired of smelling like citrus and herbs. I'm tired of smelling like oranges and blossoms and sage. Tired of this. I'm tired of it. Kitty says, I'm interested in trying growing cannabis to harvest the seed oil specifically. I don't really need it to smoke. I'm curious what the seed oil is even like. Yeah, I don't know anything about cannabis seed oil. Wait, I feel like I've watched something about this or like read something, or maybe we've talked about it in chat before. That like cannabis seed oil has been used as a product in the past, but I don't actually know any of the details, so maybe I do not remember. OMG, not more seed oil. I know, it's terrifying this day and age. There shouldn't really be any of the original fat in the soap final product, but during the rendering process, the heavier oils are separated, and those will have your smells and flavors, which you can further separate and re-include. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, if we used bacon fat for if we used bacon fat to make soap, we would not necessarily have a smoky bacon flavored soap at the end unless we put in like a smoke flavor to it. Because like I guess the idea with soap is like you make a basic soap and then you can add whatever you want to it. It should be fairly neutral because it's to make things clean. So it shouldn't really have a lot of volatile organic compounds putting off smells. What industries do you want to be employed in? Well, Badger, I have been recently looking into getting into like some kind of nonprofit work. I'm really interested broadly in furthering the environmental cause. I don't know, like my skill set presently is like I'm a good communicator. I have good writing and language skills. I have experience with I have experience with Adobe products and like whatever, all that kind of shit. So I feel like using my existing set of skills, the best role for me would be like a social media manager or an outreach coordinator or something along those lines. I could be a writer of some kind. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how I can take everything I currently know and apply it to something that can like make a decent amount of money. Worst case scenario, I just have to get a job at a fucking gas station. But if I worked full time at a gas station, I would make more money than I'm making now. I don't know if I'm even capable of working full time at a job that requires me to stand and walk and do a bunch of physical shit all day. So, we're just trying to figure shit out. I'm applying currently to a position with a nonprofit organization that would be a hybrid position. So it would be sometimes remote, sometimes in the office. And there's events that I would need to go to and things. And it honestly sounded really fucking cool, but I don't know if they want me. We'll find out. Okay, Kitty wraps up by saying smells will also be an oil that you add while the soap is still liquid before you pour it into the final mold. Okay. Okay, yeah. So that makes perfect sense. So making it with bacon grease, it would be completely pointless except to use it as a marketing thing. Which, like, then couldn't you just make, like, regular soap and, like, skip the annoying step of using bacon grease and just say that it's made... Maybe you could make it with, like, a tiny amount of bacon grease, but, like, the rest of it be a much cheaper fat, and then flavor it like bacon or whatever, and then make hella money, because I feel like it would be very expensive to use bacon grease to make soap compared to fucking vegetable oil or literally anything else. It's a fun concept. I like the concept. Wouldn't the grease give you acne if you used too much? Well, okay, so here's the thing about soap is that soap is always made with a fat and with lye, and something about the chemical interaction of those things makes it soap, which removes and strips the oils from your skin. So, no, it would not give you acne. Use a cheaper oil. Wow, now Lux sounds corporate. This is me. I'm trying to take advantage of a stupid market. Like, if there's a market out there of yes, that is, I'm suggesting marketing to make dude bros buy it. So the whole thing, the whole premise of this is like bacon grease soap, bacon flavored soap for manly men. Hilarious concept. I love it. I do. And if I'm trying to exploit their fragile masculinity, why wouldn't I basically cheat? Is like, okay, we're mostly using vegetable oil and then like a teeny tiny bit of bacon grease, because that doesn't actually make any difference to the final product. And then just flavor it like bacon. Boom. Profits out the wazoo. Out the wazoo, and you're technically not lying with your advertising when you say that it is made with bacon grease. That's capitalism, baby. That's how you make it work. That's how you make that money. I'm not actually going to do this, by the way. I'm just taking it to its logical conclusion and having fun with it. Obviously, I'm not going to start making fucking soap. Oh, Viren coming in here with the science. You got to induce a chemical reaction to create molecules with one hydrophilic end and one hydrophobic end. Bacon soap would have been a hit in 2012 when the bacon memes were... Yeah, totally. When bacon memes were at their peak. Okay, Andrea adds also, soap being a dual-sided compound with one side fat allows that side to bind with other fat-based substances, but on the other side, that's able to bind with water, which allows water to pull the grease away. Yeah, okay, cool. I like that. Mabs says, I'm looking into public interest design. There's a graduate certificate on offer at Portland State University, but it's pretty well out of my reach. Maybe I can work my way into the field with an architectural design and drafting AAS degree from PCC. Yeah, I would like to not have to get a whole new skill. Like I was, really I was pondering going into environmental work in a way that would require me to go to school. And I think it would be better if I could just find like a decent job that uses my existing set of skills instead of trying to become an entirely new person overnight. We'll see. But I totally respect, like, yeah, that's for some people, like, breaking into a field, you have no choice. Some, like, especially lots of trans people are, like, almost developmentally delayed because so many of us didn't have family support to go to college or whatever. So we've just been working shitty jobs for as long as we can get them. And then when we finally are stable in our lives and we really would like to be making more money, we're like, well, we don't have the skills. We do not have a basis from which to build and, like, work toward. My skills are in welding and it's not going to work for me going forward. I had a friend who was a welder, and then he got into CNC, and then he got into uh, quality control for aircraft, which I think is a really interesting career trajectory. To be like, yeah, I'm going to get really good at welding and be able to weld, and then also learning CNC, and that's a different form of manufacturing. And then because he has all this knowledge base of like physically how the things are built and like a lot of experience of just like working in the industry, like now he's basically like, I know someone who is ensuring that the airplane that you are on, if he has any control over it, is gonna stay in the sky. And so many people are trying to cut corners on shit and everything. And my friend is probably autistic, because it's like, we were talking about this the last time we hung out. I was like, yeah, I can understand from your position in your job. You're like, you're not even arguing with me when we're trying to resolve this issue. You're arguing with the spec. I'm just here to represent what you are supposed to do. And I think that autistic people should always be in quality control positions. Like, autistic people should have first dibs on quality control, because it's exactly, I'm like, dude, you're literally not even arguing with me when you're trying to say, oh, well, let me do this shortcut, let me do this differently. You're arguing with the specification that is the safe way to build this part, or the safe way to put these two parts together. My uncle did basically the same, but for helicopters. That's so hella cool. That's nice. I'd also like to do something that has a direct positive benefit for others. Yeah, no, I completely understand that. I want to feel like the work that I do has an outcome that benefits people. Like, I just feel so limited in how much of a ripple effect I can have on this show. Like, I have helped probably dozens of trans people realize that they're trans. That's cool. It's hard for me to quantify that. Whereas, like, if I worked for a nonprofit, it would be more like, oh yeah, we did this specific thing, and we protected these wilderness, we protected this animal group or whatever. It's just much more clear reward system. Excuse me. June says, also, autistic people should be on the committees that make the regulations that keep people safe. Truly. Because autistic people actually give a fuck about others. You know? We actually care about, like, when things are harmful. And when you can demonstrate that a rule makes sense, autistic people are like, I will never break that rule. Kitty says, I spent 25 years saying I don't want to be a teacher, and now I'm planning on opening a lifestyle and arts school. And by lifestyle, I mean cooking, cleaning, trades, and other crafts. Totally. I think I would be a good teacher. I just think that I would not make very much money. And I don't have, like, subject matter expertise that would be possible to be, like, I can't be, like, a math teacher, because I don't have any qualifications in math. I also was reading about, like, how easy it is to become a building inspector. It's apparently super easy to become a building inspector, which is obviously, like, of interest to me because I come from a background of, like, knowing things about trades. And, like, it's not, like, a particularly fun job. So I imagine it's probably something that would be in fairly high demand. But dude, yeah, just like being a building inspector, I think that would be a hella cool job. You get to go to a lot of places. Basically just saying, like, I know the rules and you better fucking follow them. Like, I'm gonna condemn your building if you don't follow the rules. Pretty low barrier to entry on that. You can do, like, a certificate program to learn the stuff that you need to do to do inspections, but you don't really need to have more than, like, a high school level of education in order to do it. Oh, someone just pointed out that the Google front page thing seems like it might be AI generated. Oh, yeah, I hadn't even really noticed that. Hold on. Why do you keep doing that to me? I hate you. If you look at the knobs, it does kind of look AI generated. I hadn't even thought about that. Interesting. That's a good point. June says buyers want a really good inspector. Sellers want a really lax inspector. Depends on who you want to get paid by. True. I guess I would be on the side of the buyers. If you are a licensed electrician, you could be a trade or technical teacher. Yeah, I'm not a licensed electrician. Basically the way that it worked in Kansas was you have to be an apprentice for 2 years, or rather, like, that's approximately how long it would take if you were working full time to accumulate the total number of hours working that would be required working under a licensed journeyman in order to get your journeyman's license. I did take the test and passed the journeyman's license test. So technically speaking, and I might even still be within that 5 years. If I had worked for 2 years as an electrician, then I would have been able to get my journeyman's license, which then means I would be able to take work of my own, potentially. In Oregon, or maybe, I don't know, I was looking at Washington maybe. I don't know what it is in Oregon. In Washington, it was like 4 years of being an apprentice before you could be a journeyman electrician. So, like, technically I don't have any certifications of that, I mean, I have like a technical certification that I got from college, but technically I'm not licensed, I guess is the most accurate way to say it. By the way, 29 people in here suddenly. Did y'all just come in here? Have you hit the like button yet? Today is a free-flowing conversation. We're just talking about whatever. So if you're here to hang out, then prepare to hang out. But if you don't want to do that, like, hit like before you leave. I would appreciate it. Likes on the video immediately help. For what it's worth, when it comes to teaching, there are places that let you seek alternative certification, and there's usually a process to let you get certified to teach certain subject matter. Yeah. There are other reasons I don't want to be a teacher. And some of those reasons are I do not want to be in a room full of I don't want to be in a room full of people. Like, at all. I don't really like being indoors in rooms full of people. It's not my favorite thing anymore. I feel like my social anxiety from my youth is very, very, very vindicated by the current disease soup that everybody is breathing in every time they go somewhere in public. As a former high school teacher, I get it. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And, like, could I work for a college and be like, I will only host classes outdoors? Like, I refuse to host classes inside. You need to make sure that you put it on the students' schedules that if they're going to come to my class, they're going to come to this courtyard. Maybe. I could maybe teach then. Kitty is out here doing amazing things. So Kitty has land and is, like, going to be trying to make sure that any of the classes that she gives will be using materials that are harvested from the property to keep costs low. Plan is to try to give free education. Anything you create while at the school goes in the student store, and anything that sells gets split 60-40 for the craftsperson. School will not, quote, make money, so no profit. All the money is going to go back into the school. Very lucky to have the land to make money and use money to make better people and grow the knowledge inside of our community. Yes. Also, the initial focus is going to be on homeless veterans and 6 to 20-year-olds. I love that. I love that. If you get really like established and you need a teacher and you can pay me a decent wage, then I would be available. June, thank you, says your donation bar is far too short. Happy Pride. Yes, I agree. I get it. I am going to pay my rent today. I completely understand. I'm broke as hell right now. So I completely get it if y'all are broke as hell. I'm going to put cat. Cat. Thank you, June. I really appreciate that. Appreciate it. You could also help out in a laboratory as a technician. Many places need individuals with knowledge of electricity and tech. There could be work for you in a lab at a local university, etc., as well, without directly teaching students. Maybe. Yeah, it's something that I had not really considered. I don't do as much with like electronics, but I guess like the skills are analogous, and I could learn how to do something with electronics and then be like a maintenance tech or something for like a lab. I don't know. I live in New York, and it takes 7 years on the books to be a master electrician. Yeah, of course. I don't even remember what it was in Kansas. It was like 2 years to be a journeyman, and I think another 4 years to be a master electrician. So, yeah, takes forever. I have 9 years total experience, but my first boss kept me off the books. Oh my god, dude, I would have been like, I need to have like an electronic paycheck or something to create like a documentation of this. That's fucked up. Kitty says the goal is going to be to attract teachers by offering free 6-month vacations on the coast for 20 hours a week of teaching. Yeah, just like come live on our land for free. And if you teach for 20 hours a week, then, that's commensurate. Maintenance jobs at institutions can pay very well. Some definitely make more money than teachers at the same workplaces. Yeah, I don't think that I would ever get hired as a maintenance person because I feel like that's such a male-dominated field, and like my disabilities would probably prevent me from being able to do it. But it is a hot idea. It is an interesting idea that I could look into. Like, yeah, I could just see if any of the colleges are hiring for any like janitorial position or something. Yeah. Just trying to do something. Let's see. What happened this week? Has anything exciting happened this week that we should really like talk about? Or I'm sure there's all kinds of shit actually. It's like, oh, just looking at Aaron in the morning. I went to school to become an LCSW. Is that some kind of nurse? The work straight burned me out. Totally. What is LCSW? Oh, a social worker. Yeah, I did consider that. And I was talking to a few people about it like several years ago. It was before I went to school for electrical training. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I was like, wouldn't it be so great if I could like work in social work and support like trans teens and stuff? And my friend, the welder, was like, yeah, everybody I've ever known who's gone into social work is now doing something else. And I was like, good point. Yeah, it seems like actually that would be kind of a fucking nightmare. Seems like it would actually not be a good time. Apparently, the Human Rights Campaign has launched a new protest campaign for Pride. These colors don't run. I like this. It's like it's giving a nod to leather daddies with the harness, the nails, very drag culture, queer culture. I love this concept of like, and I think I just saw like someone's actual truck with the entire tailgate had a big piece of art on it that was kind of similar, where it was like an eagle or something, and it said America, like these colors don't run. It just, I enjoy the juxtaposition of that as a queer person from like a conservative part of the country. I do enjoy it when those things get when they get mixed in together, like the eagle iconography with the rainbow, and using their phrases, these colors don't run. Are people already doing kink at Pride discourse? It kind of seems like there's already kink at Pride discourse that I'm hearing. I saw something about that Peacheek. I wasn't sure if it was true or not, because supposedly there's a live action Zelda movie in the works, and they might be casting Hunter Schafer to play Princess Zelda. I think she would look perfect for that role. I don't know how well she would act it. I guess I've only seen her in one movie. She did fine in Songbirds and Snakes. She was fine, but yeah, it was just like she's really talented, and that would be a really good combo. And of course, if you were to buy some of this merch from HRC, you would support them in their advocacy, etc., etc. The Kink at Pride discourse usually starts in April, so good on them making it all the way to June this year. I know, I'm so proud of them. This is an interesting one. I'm basically like looking through Aaron Reed's website and I'm like, well, let's talk about some of the good news. There is some bad news and I just don't feel like talking about it. Ninth Circuit Court rules a spa's anti-trans ban is not protected by the First Amendment. So there's a spa that is trying to ban trans women from their establishment, and apparently that's not acceptable. The First Amendment does not guarantee this spa's right to turn away trans women. It was in the state of Washington, and the Ninth Circuit ruled that the owners were not deprived of their First Amendment rights after the government told them they could not discriminate against a transgender patron. This fits into that like whole conversation we were having earlier about like free speech in America is a very broad term that refers to a lot of things. And there have been cases, such as the one in Colorado, where I believe that the appeals court or Supreme Court, whoever finally made the decision, said that a cake maker cannot be compelled to bake a cake with a message on it that they don't agree with, because that is compelling their speech in some way, rather than it's like, it's a product I'm paying you to make. It's not your speech. It's my speech. I'm writing the message on the cake. It's my speech. Anyway, so it's interesting. This spa was trying to use that same argument of like, it's against my First Amendment rights to serve a trans person. So that's where this shit is always coming from. Like, it always is just that someone is trying to be anti-trans. So like the guy with the cakes, it is not actually about his speech. It's about his refusal to support, or even like refusal to have a customer that is trans or gay or whatever. But you like, your free speech doesn't protect your right to deny someone your patronage if you are a business that serves the public. Can't Get Pride jumped the shark at Dovey RGR. It's true. Can't Get Pride discourse jumped the shark. Totally. As far as I can tell, the Zelda thing is just the rumor. Yeah, I agree. I'm like, I can't really tell if there's anything real going on here. Just that people, it's been showing up periodically, people talking about it. So this is the Olympus Spa, which is designated as a women's only space. They turned away a trans woman who sought their services because it conflicted with their religious beliefs, according to the owners. Like, yeah, your religious beliefs don't give you the right to deny someone the business. The state's Human Rights Commission intervened, asserting the spa needed to change their published admissions policy to be more inclusive and comply with the Washington law against discrimination. The spa's policy had previously stated that only biological women could enter. They said this could include trans women, but only those who get bottom surgery first. The family-run business is owned by Korean Christians who hold sincere faith-based convictions against allowing persons whose genitals are external to be present with persons whose genitals are internal, while in a state of partial or full undress, if such persons are not married to one another. Insane shit. Like, really? Do you really think that you, like, as a business, you can just decline to serve people if they don't, like, match up with your beliefs? That seems to be like the world Christians want to live in. They want to have a successful business. They want to exist in society, but they want to be able to openly discriminate against people they do not like. And they're like, yeah, but this is my legally protected First Amendment speech. Like, no, dude. There are, like, you know, you can deny someone business because as an individual, they were like rude or something. Like, or if they like knocked over some of your shit, or if they vandalized something or whatever. But you like can't deny someone who's breastfeeding just because you think breasts are explicit. You can't deny someone who is gay just because they're gay. This is the world we live in. I'm so sorry. Why do people think that they can do this? I really genuinely don't understand. Like, if I was just like, I own a small business, but somebody with a MAGA hat comes in and I just tell them to get the fuck out immediately. Like, I do think that that would be a cool world to live in, but it's not realistically the world we actually live in. And it would also be different for me to say, you're not allowed in here because you are wearing that hat and it is a hate speech message, versus like, I am not allowing you in here because you belong to a class of person that I do not like. Like, so far, MAGAs are not a protected class with heightened scrutiny. They know making a big stink about not being allowed to discriminate is exceptional marketing. I just don't know how this lands with the general population. Does the general population say like, oh no, that business has the right to discriminate against people because of fundamental traits that they have no control over? And it's so fucking annoying because these things, you can translate it to any other issue. Like, yeah, you have you're a Mormon and you have a deeply held religious belief that black people are fundamentally immoral and unclean and currently being punished by God with their black skin, and therefore you're not going to serve them because they're morally degenerate. Like, that is, and it's like, that's obviously fucking insane and stupid. But no, when it comes to trans people, when it comes to gay people, it's fine. Who cares? Let them be discriminated against. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, okay, great. Anyway, see if there's any other good news to chat about. Yeah, literally. That's exactly what I mean, Peachy. Like, how long until these conservatives are starting to argue that they should be allowed to just not serve customers based on race? Like, I disagree with you being brown, and therefore you can't be in my restaurant. Like, I don't know, dude. It's fucking crazy. Genuinely trying to rewind back to Jim Crow. Exactly, exactly. Oh, this is good news. A federal court has temporarily blocked book bans and Don't Say Gay in Iowa. Nice. Good to know. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that there, I think. I don't think that I have really any more news that I want to talk about right now. Ooh. Okay, sorry. This is completely unrelated, but my partner and I were having a really interesting discussion this weekend about there was someone playing music in public. And, you know, we're like walking around and we're, you know, running our errands and stuff. And there was just like a person panhandling, like playing music in public, trying to make money. And that happens all the time in Portland and wherever, like all over the place. People are doing this. And there's tons of homeless people in Oregon and Washington. Like, it's a really big problem. So I can completely respect the hustle. It was attached to a speaker that was a little bit too loud. So it was like, oh my God, it's genuinely like a little bit too loud. But I was thinking, and we kind of had a conversation about how differently we view things like that in this current day and age. Like, it got me thinking initially about like the farmers market in my old town where I moved from, and like the one time that I went, there were like three different live music things happening over the the entire farmers market. So it's not like they were a cacophony competing against each other. They were far enough away from each other that you could appreciate them each individually. Like there was a guy with an accordion, and there were some clearly like school children, like students in middle school or roughly middle school age, playing their school instruments in one corner. And then in another corner, there was a guy with like a stand up bass and a guy who was playing guitar with him. They were like a duo. And I was like, damn, this is really cool. Like, this is something that I love about being out and about, is that sometimes you just get to experience live music at the farmer's market. And it kind of got me thinking about like NIMBYs, the whole not in my backyard people. I imagine that someone playing music slightly too loud, trying to panhandle, is the kind of thing that a NIMBY would get pissed off about. And I really would hate it if that person was told to stop or told that they needed to move somewhere else, or if they even got arrested for a public nuisance of some kind. Like, that would be upsetting to me, because I want to live in a world where you get to just experience the beautiful creation of music in your day-to-day life. Just like I want there to be murals in like public places. I want there to be just like people making art in public. And like we were talking that my partner ended up saying something that I found really interesting, which is that it's almost like a privilege to be annoyed at music in public, because we currently live in an era where we can choose what to listen to, and we can listen to it all the time, and like there's easy access. Like, imagine if you go back like 300 years, if there's a song that you wanted to listen to, I mean, do you have an instrument personally that you could play, or can you sing the song, or are you going to have to go back down to the tavern and hear that same musician? What if he's a traveling musician and nobody in your village knows the song? Or like nobody in your town or whatever. Like, if you're going back several hundred years, or like maybe you scrape together the money once to go to the opera or the orchestra, and you know that you're never going to be able to afford that again. Or, maybe as well, like it's a traveling thing. So it's like basically the equivalent of a tour date, and you go to a concert on the tour schedule, but just like not being able to hear it again, potentially ever. Like, you're one time going to the opera, you're one time going to the orchestra, like that traveling musician, and you heard him one time and you can kind of remember the words to the song, but it was like an original song that guy wrote. So it's really like only a matter of like being in the public, or like being in the modern era, where I can go home and like load up YouTube and load up any song and listen to it on demand. And if I'm annoyed, I can turn the music off, and I can put on noise canceling headphones and stuff. If we didn't have constant on demand access to music, we would probably be like, oh, the person was playing a violin. We would be like, oh my God, I heard a violin today. Like, oh, it's been so long since I've heard a violin. That's such a special moment. Like, what a special occasion. How wonderful is that I was just out and about in my day and I got to hear a violin. I think the difference is consent. If you go to said farmer's market, you consent to being bombarded by the loud sounds. I mean, I had no idea there was going to be live music at the farmer's market. I didn't know that live music at farmers markets was a thing, because I had never been to a farmer's market before. So, like, I don't know. So this kind of comes back to the whole, like, RGR versus Doe debate. You don't really consent to see things in public. You don't really consent to hear things in public. You just exist in public with other people. It's like, it would be like if someone was like, I don't like kids. I don't consent to hearing your loud child. Like, well, you're in public with other people, so guess what? Children exist, and they're going to cry sometimes. And I just wish that we could view it as similarly acceptable. Like, yeah, you're in public, you're gonna listen to live music sometimes. Like, it just is part of the being in a community with people. I'm proud of you, Kitty. The deep urge to bitch whenever I hear the term Mormon is getting easier to resist. They suck. I know, yeah. You don't consent to being born either. I unironically consider childbirth immoral. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with you on that one. I mean, I agree that being born is technically something that happens to you without your consent, but I don't think that that's immoral. Just like giving a child a shot without their consent is not immoral. I mean, ideally, you want to make the kid feel comfortable and be like, you know, I understand you really don't like this, but I'm trying to make the best decision I can for you, and you get ice cream afterwards. You know, you're literally coercing consent. If you're saying, listen, if you are a good child and you don't make a fuss and you just get this shot today, then we'll go get ice cream. You're coercing consent. So it's like, I don't think that every situation of consent, especially when we're referring to children, like, I don't think that everything requires clean consent, if that makes any sense. Like, for the well-being of children and for other people. Ooh, thank you, in a box, for the $40 donation, your 2-hour reminder to hydrate. Happy Pride, everyone. I do actually need to refill my water, so that's a great shout. Yeah, we're about 2 hours in. My plan is to go until 3, so about 45 minutes from now. And I'm probably going to hang out with my partner more tonight. Ooh, we started painting miniatures. We both like this game, Heroescape. He played it a bunch when he was a kid, and he got me into it. It's a tabletop RPG game. It's a lot of fun. And we recently, we didn't even know, we recently learned that Heroescape is still being made. We just kind of had assumed that it was no longer in production. But Heroescape is still being made. So we bought a bunch of them. But I think by default nowadays, if you buy any tabletop game that has miniatures, by default, they come unpainted. So I think you can go on the website and buy painted ones, and it's more expensive. But by default, when you get into any form of game that uses miniatures, I think that it's such a huge part of the hobby. Like, if you're into any kind of tabletop gaming, necessarily you are also into painting them, or like you have to get into painting them in order to even have painted ones. So we practiced last night. We kind of collaborated on making one of his previous 3D prints. We painted a little figure, and it was a lot of fun, and it was really cool. And I like it a lot, and we might paint a little bit more this evening, and I'm excited about that. But I'm just going to go ahead and take a quick little break and refill my water and rest my voice for a second. Maybe run to the restroom, and I'll be right back. So I'm going to bring up this music for you guys. I'll give you a little something to listen to, and then I will take my leave of you. Be right back, though. was gonna let that song finish, but I'm cutting it short because we don't actually have much longer in the show today. Yeah, fine. Buy Jazz Dog's music. That whole album that I play, I play several songs from the album every show. It's $10. It is not expensive. Support leftist creators, including leftist music creators. Shout out jazzdog. Is Bandcamp? Is it jazzdog.bandcamp.com? It's literally like right here. Hold on, what is it? Yeah, it's bandcamp.com. Go jazzdog.bandcamp.com. Buy the music. He's got other stuff too besides that one album. I just bought the one album because I was like, oh, okay, that gives me like a decent amount of music to work with to put it on the show here. Which album? It's oh god, I can't remember. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. If you want the same album, let me figure it out. It's called Forgotten Tunes. The album is called Forgotten Tunes. It's got a rabbit on the front cover. Should be easy to see. Are all of these albums? I really thought that a lot of these were just individual songs and not albums. I think a lot of these are just songs. So you're getting a great value with that $10 album. I'm banning my partner from buying any more pots and pans. The ones he picks wear out super fast. Yeah. Ooh, okay. So, okay. So I was watching The Last of Us, and I'm not going to spoil anything, okay? Well, I'm not going to spoil anything plot relevant. There's a character who is talking about how before the apocalypse, he was like, I'm awkward with women, but I can cook. And so I would cook for women, and I got really good at it. And he's like, I was good at it enough to be able to, like, to justify having high quality tools. Like, I was good enough at it that I felt like I was worthy of high quality tools. And that kind of got me thinking, you know, like, I have a lot of different things I'm interested in and a lot of different skills. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, yeah, I don't think I would be able to justify. Like, I wouldn't buy myself a $300 sewing machine, but my mom wanted to buy me something for my birthday. So I was like, okay, I will accept you buying me a $300 sewing machine because I know you are interested in sewing and you want to share that with me, and it would be useful for me to have a sewing machine. So yeah, I accepted that gift. But with cooking, I agree with that character from The Last of Us. I'm like, I am good enough at cooking that I deserve quality tools. And I have tried my best to get myself quality tools in the past. Like, when I moved out, like, my partner and I separated for a year. We were still married, but like I moved out. I decided that I was going to buy myself a nice set of stainless steel Calphalon pans. And they're not like the highest quality, whatever. Like, I know Calphalon it's a pretty well recognized brand that makes like mediocre or like mid-tier products. It's not like a cheap Amazon thing. It's not like a super duper expensive Moviel or whatever. But it is pretty decent, and they might last me the rest of my life. And that was like a gift for myself when I moved out. And I still have those, and I use them regularly, and I like them a lot. I invested in a $20 Walmart cast iron pan. Really, that is money well spent. $20 cast iron pan, boom, easy. Get yourself shitty cast iron. It's fucking amazing. They're awesome. I need to season mine still. I've never seasoned it properly. But yeah, wonderful. And I'm getting into cooking different things. And I'm like, I really want like a good stock pot. So right now I'm genuinely pondering getting like a nearly $300 stock pot, because I like to buy 3 whole chickens and cut them all up and use the meat that's on the body. So like the rib meat and all that kind of stuff. I like to use that to make a soup and like make a nice thick bone broth with the carcasses. But it's like hard to do in my tiny stock pot. You know? Yeah, cast iron lasts for fucking ever. So cheap Walmart stuff is okay. Yeah. But I'm considering getting myself like a damn near $300 stock pot. And just like a stock pot. It's not a Dutch oven. Although, I am pondering, like, should I get a Dutch oven too? Like, I don't know. I guess the kind of stuff that I would do in a Dutch oven, I have an instant pot with a slow cook function. So it's like, I probably don't need a whole Dutch oven, but like, these are the kind of things that I'm thinking about. And then like, I also would really like to get and now I'm not saying that I'm gonna spend any of this money. I'm like really thinking about it as like maybe I'll ask for this for Christmas kind of thing. Or I'll save up for it between now and the end of the year. So the giant stock pot, I really want that. It would be very easy to convince my partner to buy it for me because he loves those chicken soups that I make. Pressure cooker is great. Someone bought me a pressure cooker off my Amazon wish list, and right this moment, I cannot remember who it was. It might have been Wellington Smith, actually. So shout out Wellington, who's one of my patrons, for buying that for me because it's incredibly useful. Pressure cooker, it's so cool. I use it regularly. It's the only way I make rice. Rice in that. Oh. Get a cast iron cauldron. True. Ryborg, welcome to the website. Thank you so much for joining up over here. Yes, that's hilarious. Like a cast iron cauldron, and that just is my Dutch oven. Like, that would be pretty funny. But the other thing that I've been thinking about getting recently is a food processor. Because presently, good grief, I have a shitty blender that I got at the thrift store. It might be a Hamilton. I can't remember what brand it is. But it's just like a crummy one that I got at the thrift store. And I also have a Magic Bullet, again, that I got at the thrift store. And the entire reason that I got the Magic Bullet was so that I could specifically make my partner some pistachio butter. Because he's been looking for pistachio butter in the store for a long time. And it seems like in stores, there is no such thing. We could go on Amazon and buy pistachio butter, but that defeats the point. He was like, I want to experience it organically. But since that hasn't happened, I decided, again, while we were separated, interestingly enough, that I was going to make him pistachio butter by just like blitzing pistachios until they become like a semi-solid liquid. And so that's why I have a Magic Bullet. And then I also have an immersion blender, which is the kind that you hold in your hand and it's like, oh, it's the forbidden Hitachi. You know the forbidden Hitachi, right? Hold up. Let me make sure. No. Okay, here we go. You know what I mean. The forbidden Hitachi wand. KitchenAid hand blender. So this usually it comes with like a cup that you're like meant to blend stuff in, and you kind of do a jack off motion to blend the stuff up. And I have one of those, but I don't have a food processor. Food processors are expensive, but like I want to make hummus. Need a food processor. They also can cut things. Like if you want to slice carrots or something, it's like super fast. Man, if that could save me a huge amount of time prepping vegetables, if I could just be like, and like there's an entire onion cut up. Oop, there's an entire carrot. There's all the celery. And it's just like, boom, fucking 30-second mirepoix. I will come in my pants. Like I will jizz everywhere. Unbelievably satisfying. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons why I'm considering. This is like one of the only things. I'm really against spending money on myself, especially because I do not make very much money and I end up owing a lot in taxes at the end of the year. Like I am so deep in that as a disabled person, I am a burden kind of shit. I try really hard not to get stuck there, but it is certainly like I constantly stress about the fact that I don't make enough money. And I'm trying to figure out new ways that I can make money or like trying to get a job. Like it's literally a constant burden. The only things that I spend money on for myself really, unless my partner is actively supporting me doing it, is okay. It's absolutely necessary for me to have stuff to cool myself down in the summer. So whatever, yeah, I spend money on clothes for myself, usually in this context of like, I need compression socks, or I want to try compression shorts or something, or yeah, like I need new clothes because my body has changed or something. Clothes and fucking kitchen stuff. This is like the one area of my life where I do. I mean, I guess I bought a gun last year, but like, still, that's not something I'm regularly putting money into. It's kind of a one and done thing. But kitchen, there's always new stuff that I like. Eventually, I'll have everything that a person could reasonably have in a kitchen, and then I'll be like, oh, you know what? I got that microwave at a thrift store. I should replace it. And I'm just going to be buying kitchen stuff for the rest of my life. I can feel it. I can sense it. I'm going to own a house and I'm going to be like, I don't really like this refrigerator. I want a new refrigerator. How embarrassing. You can get a stick blender that has food processor blades. Oh, cool. I think I would still prefer to get a food processor because it is a multi-tool in and of itself, but I do appreciate how little space the stick blender takes up. And if I get a food processor, it's like, that's yet another appliance that's going to have to go somewhere in my kitchen. And, you know, if you're renting, you don't necessarily have the best kitchen storage space. I do rice in a saucepan. Is pressure cooker rice better? So if I really like it in the pressure cooker, but I think that might be partially because I've had inconsistent results doing it on the stovetop surface. And I also, like, my Calphalon pans don't have a super strong seal, so a lot of the steam is escaping, which does not happen in the pressure cooker. Also, I don't know what kind of rice you use in a box. I pretty much exclusively eat either jasmine or basmati rice. They cook very similarly. They're a long grain rice, because I only buy rice that's a product of Thailand, basically. Not specifically because I want rice from Thailand, but rather because rice from America is horrible. And I happen to just get the same kind of Thai rice every time. And that rice, I cook it for 3 minutes on high pressure cooker setting. And then I turn everything off. I turn off the keep warm function. I don't let the steam out. I just let it sit there at pressure for 10 minutes. And I found these instructions online. And then that's like, it's fucking perfect rice. Obviously, you put a little bit of salt, you put a little bit of sesame oil in there or whatever to kind of like lube it up a little bit. But yeah. You can get an immersion blender that has multiple attachments, so you end up with one motor and 3 or 4 kinds of blender/processor. Yeah, but I could get that. Like, how expensive is that? Like, immersion blender with all attachments. Whoa. Okay, like an immersion blender with a bunch of different shit on it looks like that. First result, $187. This one, Braun Multi-Quick 9-hand blender with iMode technology, $260. Like, at that point, I'm just gonna get a food processor. At that point, like, I get a food processor and then I don't have to, like, jerk off my food. You know what I mean? And I already have an immersion blender. Basmati rice is so much better than every other rice IMO, except for wild rice, which isn't actually rice. True. My stick blender was $149, I think, but had a middle amount of stuff. My stick blender was like $20 at the grocery store, because I just wanted an immersion blender. I wasn't really like trying to get anything specific. So like $20 at the grocery store, and I think it only has one head. It only has one head, and it has 2 modes. It's either low or high. That's it. This whole discussion feels like the women's version of guys talking about their modular Ryobi tools. That's really interesting. It's not something I had ever considered, but like, yeah, like I am investing in the tools of a trade to some extent. Like I'm investing in the tools to cook dinner and do it well, and like that's a really interesting way to put it. Because I've kind of personally assigned myself the job of like cooking for my family. Again, I'm trying to compensate for the fact that I'm disabled, so I'm like, let me give myself in service to the extent that I can. So I cook dinner, and I've managed to streamline that process really, really nicely so that I am not spending a huge amount of time cooking. And also I don't have a huge amount of dishes. Like that's another thing that is important, is making sure that we're streamlining the cleanup as well. Uh and yeah, it's like a job that I'm investing in. I'm investing in like being able to make more things or make the things that I do more efficiently. So that's interesting, the comparison to like guys talking about their tools. Like just imagine being with the women gossing and being like, "Ooh, oh my gosh, I just got a new stand mixer. Life changing. You will not believe how much easier it is with all the baking I do." And you girls know I do a lot of baking. This is a game changer. You got to get the one with the kneading hook. It is the most important part. Like I don't know, I can just imagine that. I'm developing arthritis in my fingers. I need to start saving for when I can't use a keyboard anymore. Speaking of professional tools. Totally. Yeah. I mean, I also need a new mouse, and I'm avoiding getting a new mouse. This one is like the plastic is degrading from the oils in my hands. Like literally plastic will flake off if I scrape it. So it's pretty gross and bad, and sometimes I wonder if I should be touching it all the time, but you know, that's money. Okay, I don't need to look at immersion blenders. I don't need that. Get out of here. This is why I love joining your lives, the conversation. Yeah, absolutely. I like talking, and I like talking about a lot of different things. I'm really good at talking. I think I recorded, yeah, I recorded a video and uploaded it this past week, and I was kind of self-conscious about the fact that those videos always end up longer than I mean for them to. Whenever I record a vlog or anything like that, I end up like not stopping in a reasonable amount of time, and then it's a 20-minute video, and I'm like, I didn't mean for it to be a 20-minute video, but I just kept. And you'll notice if you watch any of my vlogs that typically several minutes before the video is actually over, I will say, I think that's about everything, or something along those lines, and then I continue to talk for another 5 minutes. So I'm trying to be self-aware of that. If I reach a point in the video where I'm like, oh, maybe I've run out of things to say, I'm gonna just try to stop talking instead of then going on for several more minutes. June says, I bought an expensive stick blender because I was trying to buy one I wouldn't ever have to replace. But then you get into boot theory. Yeah, the whole concept of like, if you can manage to buy the expensive pair of boots now, like let's say the boots are $100 and those are the expensive boots that are going to last your entire life, versus like the $20 boots that you can actually afford today, but like they wear out every year. So in 6 years, you've now spent more money than the original $100. Poor tax, basically. I don't think I use my immersion blender often enough to really feel like I need to worry about needing to replace it ever, but I don't know. Hail Hydrate. Shout out to In a Box earlier for reminding me that I needed more water. And a shout out to Past Me for not drinking any of it. Gorgeous. This is an interesting conversation, and I'm interested in your opinions about it. I've just stumbled on this on Blue Sky. So the original, I'm going to try to Russian doll this correctly. This post says, I voted for Donald Trump, and so did practically everyone here, but no one voted to deport moms. This is a quote from Vanessa Cowart, hilarious last name, who is the friend of someone, friends from church with someone who has been deported, presumably, who said she believed Trump's anti-immigration actions, something or other, probably that they weren't going to be bad. And then this has been quoted by someone who posted, yes, you did vote to deport moms. And then this person, Timothy, has raised issue with that, saying, I really, really need people to understand that they didn't vote for this, no matter how much you insist they did. Insisting they voted for this elides the information environment that led them to vote the way they did in the first place, the thing that actually needs fixing. Which has then been responded to by this person, who says, I really, really need people to understand that as a function of supremacy, normal everyday people lie constantly about their intentions to everyone, but perhaps to themselves most of all, and most often in service of protecting their ignorance and complacency rather than any coherent ideology. And then goes on to say, yes, let's fix the information environment, but the first thing that needs fixing in the environment is the instinct to treat with credulity people who have lost their credibility, and to treat as believable stories that are frankly unbelievable. Oh, fucking true. Okay, so I wasn't sure. I didn't see the rest of this thread. But that is an interesting point, that one of the first problems we need to fix is people's willingness to believe things that are obviously untrue. Like, that is an individual problem. Or for people to reject information that is obviously true. That isn't like a problem of the information environment per se. If the information is available to you and you look at it and then you look away, that is not a problem with the information environment per se. That is you making a deliberate choice. So I'm kind of working through my thoughts on this actively live right now. Meanwhile, I've been standing here trying to iron flat a piece of cloth for the last 5 minutes before realizing the iron wasn't plugged in. Lux, you are such a distraction. I know, I'm so pretty. Such a distraction. I've been getting gassed up a lot by my partner the last couple days, so I'm definitely feeling a little bit of that, yeah, well, whatever, I'm just so pretty and cool. And it's funny how you can believe those things about yourself, but hearing them from somebody you care about is it just hits different. I know I'm hot and cool, and yet I've been so down on myself recently. What the fuck is my problem? In a Box posits, anyone who didn't vote for Harris ultimately voted for this. Potentially, yeah. Yeah, of course, of the people who were eligible to vote and had a fair chance to vote. Yeah, for sure. In fairness, I don't think that most people are specifically bigoted or phobic. They are simply selfish/self-absorbed. It's how much can we say that this person isn't bigoted if we know that people are not even willing to acknowledge that shit within themselves? For a white person to, let me just go with a really simple example. For a white person to touch a black person's hair without their permission, they are usually well-intentioned people. And if you tell them that that behavior is racist, they will object. And they will say, well, I didn't mean anything bad by it. But what they don't do is they don't examine their belief, their fundamental belief that black people are objects for them to touch as they would please, as they want. That for the most part, they don't treat white people that way. They don't just touch white people's hair in public for no reason. That the othering and the exoticizing of black people is objectifying and causes you to treat them in a way that you would not treat other people, causes you to treat them with a disrespect that you don't treat other people. So I think that I'm using this as an example in microcosm of a broader problem where I think that a lot of people do have bigoted or phobic beliefs, but that they are not able to recognize that within themselves because everybody wants to think of themselves as a good person, and only a bad person is like racists are bad people, and therefore they can't be racist because that would mean that they're a bad person, and now they have to update their self concept to include the idea that they might be a bad person in some contexts. And so I think that people's own inability to view that with honesty, and I think this is part of what the point is that this person is trying to make, that like first and foremost people lie to themselves. First and foremost, people construct stories for themselves, and they seek information that reinforces the story that they believe about themselves and the story that they believe about the world. I don't know if that was a typo or if this is just a really interesting concept you're proposing. Examining one's beliefs is a byproduct of being selfish. Is it selfish to even consider like what it is that you believe, and like whether that, like, I don't know. It certainly is it can lead to or potentially be lumped in with other kinds of antisocial behavior, in the sense that the social behavior is to agree with the group. The social behavior, like the benefit for social cohesion, is to go with the flow. So I guess you could, in some frameworks, characterize individuality or breaking from the thought process of the group as a type of antisocial behavior, which taken to an extreme, I could agree is somewhat antisocial. Like, I mean, it is kind of antisocial for me to wear a mask still. But I am right, so I'm not going to stop. Sorry, I meant not examining. Oh, to not examine one's beliefs is a byproduct of being selfish. Yeah, but it's interesting how by taking the framework of your typo, that I have now opened up the door to the idea that like going against the community is a kind of selfishness, and like the more you express yourself as an individual, the more selfish that is, in a way, in a particular kind of thinking. What's up, Tormus? Haven't seen you in a bit. What's up? The most charitable interpretation of how people voted for Trump is incoherence. I mean, yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like, do they not understand what's actually going on? Do they just, like, wholeheartedly believe everything he says? Do they think that he's a terrible person, but that a Democrat would be worse? Like, I don't know. There's probably some combination of all of that shit. So yeah, anyway, this person was saying, yes, we should fix the information environment, but we also need to fix the fact that people have an instinct to treat with credulity people who have lost their credibility. So to like believe people who have demonstrated that they are not credible, like Trump, and to treat as believable stories that are frankly unbelievable. Your willingness to believe that immigrants are eating dogs, like that they're stealing dogs off the street and eating them, like the fact that you're willing to believe that is a problem that needs to be examined. They continue, if we grant that it's acceptable for me to demonstrate an ignorance about Trump's rhetoric and campaign promises, that would have required an effort to maintain, certainly we must also grant it acceptable for you to wonder why I undertook that effort and be suspicious of my stated motives. Yeah, so basically this person here is saying it's difficult in the current information age to completely never see any of the things about Trump's rhetoric that are objectionable or his campaign promises that are objectionable, and that it would almost have required effort to avoid obtaining that information because it has been talked about so broadly, so widely. And it would be, yeah, this person is basically saying that you should be suspicious of somebody who has made an effort to be ignorant of Trump's promises, which I do think is an interesting proposal. They continue, I can imagine somebody who voted for Trump latching onto one of the grab bag of things he said on one day or another, yet kept completely unaware of the daily promise to establish an autocratic regime of racial purity through mass deportation, but I can't imagine ever trusting that person's judgment. Like, to have voted for Trump based on one of the things he said randomly about, like, oh, I want to bring down taxes or some shit, but, like, to ignore that he constantly was promising to ignore the rule of law. Honestly, I've been landing more and more on blaming voters for being kind of dumb. I mean, for being dumb and willfully ignorant and willfully hateful. Like, it's not just that they're dumb, it's that they are willfully ignorant, which is, I think, what this person is kind of driving toward, that people are choosing to be ignorant in a way that enables them to do horrible things to people. But now that they're being confronted with the horrible consequences of their actions, they want to disavow their actions, but they can't. Like, I'm sorry, my eyeball just twitched at the weirdest fucking moment. I've been eating plenty of bananas, getting plenty of potassium. Tormoose says, people's relationship to truth and honesty these days is something that really troubles me. Yeah, totally. A lot of people are steeped in their own echo chambers. Our society is built around creating them. If you are told by everyone around you that trans people are dangerous, why would you believe the couple voices outside your chamber saying you are evil for believing what you have heard? Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the algorithms that, I mean, like, assuming that these people are on social media, right? Because there are plenty of older people who just watch, like, the news. But it's like, it seems like, I don't know. It seems like it would be really difficult to ignore stuff like Trump saying that that he's not ruling out the idea of running for a third term, for example, or that, like, or like looking at any of the stuff that he did in his previous, or any of the stuff that he tried to do in the previous first time. This person continues, but, and this is the thing that kills me about this sort of discourse, the fact that her first desire is not to fix the problem now that it is here, but rather to be let off the hook for helping cause it. This is what shows me the motives were bad from the start. Yeah, that their first thought is like, oh, I feel bad about this happening. I didn't want this to happen. Oh no, like, don't hold me accountable for this thing that I enabled directly. The fact that a Trump voter wants me to know that they did not vote for mass deportations is not interesting to me. What is interesting to me is what they plan to do about mass deportations. And I hope the answer isn't, I plan to ask you to assure me that I'm a good person. If you didn't vote for mass deportations, great, show me, call your congresspeople, take to the street and carry a sign, donate to immigrant advocacy groups. At the very least, don't ask other people to do the work of redeeming you. At the very minimum, I think that is a good critique to pull from that. Okay, if you didn't vote for this and you feel bad about that now, then, like, do something to undo the damage that you have unknowingly contributed to, if we assume that your ignorance was innocent and not deliberate. Pretty much the entire reason Trump lost the first time was how shit he was at dealing with COVID, or at least the broadly anti-incumbent effect COVID had by default. So the fact enough people forgot that in 4 years kind of leaves me less charitable to voters. Yeah, we are going through some kind of mass amnesia around COVID that is really troubling, and a lot of people have written about it already. There's a certain amount of inertia involved. I would bet that if Trump led with outright saying he wants to destroy the Constitution, he would have gotten nowhere. I think the MAGA cult is a situation of frog legs in the warming kettle. Well, yes, like that is correct that the rhetoric has gotten more extreme and that, like, I mean, he was saying stuff during the campaign that is anti-constitutional. Like, it is anti-constitutional to say that you're going to run for a third term. I guess he was less overtly saying that, like, he's going to ignore these judges. But I think that he was talking about, like, oh, you know, we need to criminalize people who are, like, not doing what we say. It has gotten worse, but also fucking, it's like, how is it that I have known since 2015 or even more before that, and this was like before I was even like as heavily into politics as I am now, how did I know in 2015 that if Trump got elected, we would be on the road to fascism? How did I know that in 2015, and now it's literally fucking 10 years later, and people are surprised? Like, I wept. I think like the night of the election, I like fell asleep, and then I woke up and Hillary was in the middle of conceding. And I wept because I knew that this was going to happen. Like, how did I know about that? And 10 years later, people are fucking surprised. Like, I can't give you 10 years of grace. I don't have that in me. I do not have 10 years of grace in me for those people who voted for him the second time. Taylor Lorenz put out a great video about the mass amnesia surrounding COVID and the near socialism that had started to see some light. Yeah, that was her. It was mostly about like the normalization. Like the broader point was the normalization of rhetoric around death. Like the whole meme of everybody saying like, do it. Fucking monumental success, Taylor Lorenz. And that's like one of her best performing videos. Having the title be about like people saying, like people making jokes about assassination, basically, and taking the time to tie it to COVID and having that be one of her best performing videos. Like, good fucking on you. That was an amazing way to make sure that COVID stays in the conversation. Incredible. Oh gosh, Sophie is dropping some bars. Oh, in a box. Thank you for your $20 donation. Solidarity with my friends suffering in America. True. Just know that direct donations help at least one trans person live a better life. So, like, I try to do my best to move that forward and like help make life better for other people in a pay it forward kind of fashion. But, you know, I'm just feeling a little ineffective right now. Sophie was dropping some bars in the YouTube chat. I don't know that echo chambers are real. The issue is that normal disagreements are worth killing for, like slavery. If I believe trans people have a right to care and the next person believes the opposite, it's not a matter of how we got there. It's a matter of who can kill who the fastest. Like IDK, I live in hell world where people will pretend like people should defend themselves, and then like half the time those people are lying, and it turns out they are too soy to defend themselves. Self-defense is murder that's allowed. That's all it is, and allowed killing. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. I would have to think about that a little bit more. I know, Sophie, sometimes you come out with beliefs that I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from. Like, I don't understand that at all. And sometimes I'm like, sometimes I just need to take a little bit of time to like absorb it and be able to process and like have a proper response to it. It's an interesting proposal, though. Kitty's got what dad wisdom moment. When I was a kid, I asked my dad, what's the difference between dumb and stupid? Dad replied, you will hear a lot of different answers to that question. To me, it's willful ignorance. Some people have a limited capacity and just will never understand the concept you're discussing, while others choose to remain ignorant, and that is just stupid. He had a pretty good way with words at times, even if he is a nihilist pretending to be a Christian. You know? It's fun. I'm doing local activism to make life here better more widely also. Hell yeah, in a box. Totally. I know you said before that you had just donated like a big amount to a local like trans charity or something. Definitely. I was just talking with my partner today about like the homelessness problem here and what is the best approach. Like, should you give money to people directly, or should you give money to a homeless organization like a shelter or something? And I think we came to the conclusion that like a little bit of both is probably the best thing you can do. Like, if I have like a monthly pledge to a homeless shelter, and also I keep some cash on me so that I can hand it to people a couple times a month, like probably that would accomplish all of my goals, which is like I want there to be an organization, but also if the shelter runs out of beds, I want people to be able to afford like food tonight, or I want people to be able to afford a new tent or something. So like, yeah, sometimes it's just a little bit of both. You got to donate to individuals who need help, and we have a lot of mutual aid requests in the universe right now. Like GoFundMe is probably getting the most action it's ever gotten. And also helping with organizations who can take that money and they can try to expand its value to help as many people as possible. So cannot forgive Dems for taking what should have been the layup of the century and fumbling it because Biden was too arrogant to step down sooner and had to keep funding genocide. True. Inabox supports the UK charity called Shelter, donates to it regularly, and I do work with the trans charity Sparkle. Totally. Those are good. Shout out if you're in the UK. Those are organizations that you should support. Oh my God. I don't even have anything that I could expand on with, so Sophie said, I'm angry today because I can't get good sleep and I live in Iowa, and it was my senator that said, well, we all die. Okay. I don't have the video up right now, but I did see it. I saw the reply video. So apparently at a town hall in Iowa this week, one of their representatives, a senator, said, so, they were talking about the cuts to Medicaid that are potentially going to be happening with the big, beautiful bill. And the fact that, like, this is going to kick a bunch of people off their insurance. And so someone started shouting at the town hall about how this is going to kill people. Like, people are going to die. And this was, like, a very high energy moment. And they may have even been removed. I'm not sure. I didn't see the video. But I think they may have been removed from the town hall for being disruptive or whatever. And the way that the senator replied was to say, well, we all are going to die. I don't know I don't know how to break this to you. It was super condescending and really bitchy. And then she made a video the next day, and I think she actually filmed it on her phone in a cemetery. She filmed in a cemetery, and I did see this video. And she was like, yeah, I just, I really wanted to talk about what happened at the town hall this week. And, I wanted to really apologize because I didn't realize that I needed to explain to everybody that we all are going to die. I haven't covered the tooth fairy either. But if you all are so desperate for long and everlasting life, then let me introduce you to my good pal Jesus. And I had to stop watching it at that point because I was incensed. So this woman, in response to her community, someone she represents, saying people are going to die in an immediate sense, like children are going to die, and like people who wouldn't otherwise die is the point. Like people who, if they had access to healthcare, would be fine. Like, so you are going to do something that is going to kill people now, and her to be like, oh, well, everybody dies, so I don't care. Functionally is the message that we're receiving from this, is like, well, everybody dies, therefore it doesn't matter if I do something that causes people to die but it's the thing, it's like, they wouldn't have died if you didn't do that thing. Like, you're a murderer at that point. And for her to be so fucking condescending about it, and then for it to turn into her fucking insane death cult, Christian bullshit, fucking seriously, like, cult bullshit, of like to these Christians, like if children die in a school shooting, that's a good thing because they get to go meet Jesus. Like, fire her immediately. She cannot be in charge of anything. She cannot be a representative. Like, this is my most hardline anti-theist belief is like, if you ever talk about your religious beliefs in relation to your policy making, you're fired. Like, you cannot be trusted to represent the people. You want people to die. You think it's a good thing for people to die. Fucking insane. Actually, legitimately, like, enraging shit. That touches on, like, some real sensitive spots for me. I would rather help out at a soup kitchen than give money directly to homeless. Around here, I would be too worried about them spending it on drugs. Also, there are a lot of professional homeless around Portland. But like, I don't know why that's a bad thing. I think is like, I don't know why it's a bad thing for a homeless person to do drugs. Like, you know, and like, I'm going to say this, like, I live in Oregon. For a few years in Oregon, drugs were just decriminalized. They recently undid that and drugs are criminalized again, but they were decriminalized. So like, I am coming from this a perspective of like, that was one of the things that I thought was good about Oregon, that they made drugs legal. And so that for me is like fitting in a framework of like, you can, like, you should be able to do what you want with your body as long as you're doing it safely. And so why do I think homeless people shouldn't be allowed to use the very small amount of money that they have to do something that's going to help them make it through the day, in a sense of like, you know, making it possible for them to fall asleep at night, for example. Like, you're sleeping outside in a fucking city, so like it's probably hard to fall asleep, and also you probably feel like shit about your life, so like I don't really see why that would be a problem. So that's for me personally. I don't care if I give a person $20 and they buy drugs with it. Like, obviously that is them committing a crime now that they have recriminalized drugs here, but like, that's no longer my problem. And if it makes their day easier, then like, I don't know. The drugs around here is mostly meth. Okay, well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I can see why there's concern there. Kitty has an idea for a way to get more stable food for soup kitchens by recruiting people to put a few earth tainers on their property and give them a dehydrator. Have them mail the dehydrated food to kitchens that need it, or even just a local kitchen. Dehydrated veggies do very well in soups. Ooh, yeah. Not much is going to change for me when I die. I'm still going to be in a box. True. I'm going to be in a dirt with tree planted on my chest. Yeah. The decriminalization lacked the corresponding infrastructure to make it effective, should not have been repealed. Biggest fuck up of all time, pass a bill decriminalizing personal drug use, then give $0 to help expand treatment options in the state, even though the bill required that to happen. It was because cities had already been stealing cannabis tax money for roads when it was for schools. Oh shit, that's crazy. I did know that, like, yeah, it was, they passed a bill to decriminalize drug use here, and part of the bill was, and then you're required to allocate funding to help with harm reduction and, like, programs to get people off the drugs. But then they didn't do that, and then everybody's bitching about, like, okay, well, people are like, oh my god, now all these homeless are drugged out. It's like, okay, yeah, like, they are now allowed to do drugs and be in public, and they can't be arrested just for doing the drugs. So yes, you're going to see more of it. But they literally didn't do the thing that they were legally supposed to do. And then they blame that on, like, the people and say, like, oh, well, you know, clearly you people can't be responsible with your drug use, so we have to recriminalize it again. Four years of arguing over the money and nothing happened. True. Annoying shit. Well, anyway, It was my intention to only go until about 3. We went a little bit longer, but ya boy needs some lunch. I am hungry for lunch. So I'm going to go do that. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And I plan to see you all on Wednesday. Look out this week. I'm going to put out a video reviewing Close to You by Elliot Page. Or not by Elliot Page. He acted in it and he helped with the story concept. But written and directed by Dominic somebody. I can't remember his last name. I'll have it in the video. But anyway, yes, I look forward to a movie review this week. Trans movie review this week. Wednesday show. And then I'm going to be on Takis on Thursday. So, enjoy. Have a great night, everybody.